Most importantly, leadership is relational and it's human.
And then we'll hear, yeah, but. Because we're kind of obsessed with that word, but.
Right, I hear you, but I love you, but I'm sorry, but thank you, but you're doing good, but.
But just deletes everything that was just said. So we really need the word and. I hear you and. I love you and. I'm sorry and. Thank you and. You're doing good and. I'm Josh Donovan with Lighthouse Institute.
And I'm Patrick Ibarra with Lighthouse Media.
And
we're excited to dive into leadership through real conversations.
It's all on the table. Work, parenting, marriage, conflict, friendship, personal growth. Because wherever you go, there you are, leading yourself and leading others. So really, this is leadership and everything else. All right. Welcome back. We have a very special guest again, Brianna, my wife. Hello.
Hi.
Thanks
for having me back.
Thanks for having you back. Yeah, we had you here just 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And what happened was we came up against your hard stop. It was the first time that Patrick and I were like, oh my gosh, we lost total track of time. You're signaling us, you got to go pick up the kids from school. And we're like, we want more. Mm-hmm. So we just decided, let's get her back in here and we'll keep it going.
And that's so weird, having to go pick up kids from school. I bet you nobody in our audience knows anything about that. Nobody, right?
Who does that?
Right? We talked a lot last time about personality, the Myers-Briggs type indicator. We spent a lot of time unpacking that tool and kind of getting into the details of Myers-Briggs. And as fun as that was, we just didn't get a ton of time to talk about you and the way that those personality differences show up in our relationship, in our day-to-day, and parenting, and all those things. So we're really hoping that today we get to dig a little bit deeper into Brianna the human. I know, you're so excited about that. And we're recording on Monday, May 11th. And yesterday was a pretty special day.
It was, yeah.
What was yesterday?
Mother's Day.
It was Mother's Day.
Yes.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I definitely felt special.
Tell us about Mother's Day, kind of the experience of that, the evolution of it from being a mom of young kids to kind of what you were experiencing yesterday.
Oh, yeah. When the kids are younger, Mother's Day is like, okay, babe, you handle every chore today. You do all the things for the kids. I just need a breather. And as they get older, there's an evolution where the kids don't need you as much on like the day-to-day and the little tedious things. You can enjoy them a little bit more. That is, if they seem into it. And we had a couple daughters yesterday that just seemed a little too cool. Where we were out listening to some live music, and there's one practically sleeping and the other just sitting around, and just felt different. But I felt loved. You sent me for a massage in the morning. It was amazing. And then they all made me homemade cards, which were beautiful. And then at some point you pulled together a video, 10-minute video where he interviewed the girls and asked them questions about me and our relationship. And then they did the same to Dad. And that was my Mother's Day gift, was getting to watch and listen to that. It was incredible. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I would love to take credit, but I do have to give credit to Instagram. As I was, doom scrolling, even though I don't really like to do that very often, I find myself in there every once in a while. And it was this suggested post that said, hey, don't get her another bouquet of flowers for Mother's Day. She doesn't care. This is what she wants. And it was interview prompts based on the ages of kids. There were different brackets that said, record your kids answering these questions for your wife, and then have one of them record you. And so I just took screenshots of the questions. I put them on some note cards. I grabbed the girls, and I recorded them answering the questions, and then they recorded me. And honestly, I threw it right into iMovie on my phone and just put it together. It was a little 10-minute video, but the post itself said, this will be something she can keep forever. This will be something she'll go back to and listen and value. And so it felt easy, and it felt like it was going to have some pretty big impact, and the girls were super into it. So it was a fun little project.
Yeah. Super special.
How cool. Like, I feel like nowadays we don't do a lot of those, like tugging into the heart, memory things. And so that's so special. Like, for you to have that to look back, like, for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know, that could be a cool tradition too, Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about that also, like something that you could repeat, maybe not like an annual thing, but every few years to have this, where they're at this point in time to go back to. It's funny, Chris Fela is a big fan of birthday videos. So like when it's your birthday, he'll record a video front facing, just give you your message that way. And the first time I got one from him, I was like a weepy mess. I'm like, oh my gosh, this was really, really meaningful. And so I started doing that with quite some close people in my life, and hearing the same thing, like, man, this is different. This is a little bit of a game changer, up level into the video. It's fun. It's fun to do.
Totally.
I definitely felt valued for sure.
Yeah. Meaningful. Now, there's a little bit of a paradox there, because you felt valued at the same time. Two of your girls were not as engaging, maybe, which, I mean, I feel like as parents, right, like we know that those seasons come and they're just seasons, I think. But still, it's got to be hard as a mama. Like,
yeah, I'm not needed as much in the same ways that I used to be. And that's paradox. That's good and kind of sad at times. But you know what? I know that they love me, and they come to me when they need me. And yesterday, everyone was just relaxing and enjoying the sunshine, and beautiful day.
Brianna also recently read a book, and I'm wondering if one of the ideas in this book might be at play.
For sure.
I haven't read the book. I'm familiar with the title.
Yeah, The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. Yeah. The premise there is, allow people to be who they are. You don't have to take everything so personally. And so after reading that book, trying to incorporate some of those thoughts into my life. And, there's times where maybe we're at a softball game and the other team is chanting like very negatively towards my daughter who's pitching. And I feel myself like ready to freak out on them. Like, how could you be leading in this way? This isn't leading. And the coaches, how are you letting your kids chant like this at my kid? And I want to get angry. And then I've got Josh over here who hasn't read the book yet, but he's like, he knew that I had just read it. And he's like, babe, just let them. And then as soon as he reminds me of that, my body instantly relaxes. And it's like, yeah, I don't have to control everything. I can allow people to be who they are, and that's okay.
And what's the name of the book again?
The Let Them Theory.
The Let Them Theory.
Yeah,
highly recommend.
And I'd say it's gained quite a bit of popularity there. I can't remember where we were. We were on a vacation, and that green cover was just everywhere. Remember, it's a bright green hardcover. But I've seen Brianna applying that let them idea inside our family with the girls, like having fewer expectations, letting them kind of do the things that they want to do. And it's interesting because we have traditionally been like, we're a family of 5. We're going to do all the things together. And sometimes when you're doing that, you are forcing people to compromise or flat out do something they don't want to do. And so it was really a part of that family why session that we've already talked about. Our family did at the end of 2025. And the Felas introduced us to the idea of saying like true togetherness is kind of our actionable core value statement, and gave us the idea of a spider web, that a spider can sometimes be working on the entire web all together, or it might just be working on like one little section of the web and really strengthening it. But in doing that, it's still reinforcing the whole web. And so similar idea for our family is, yeah, there's going to be times where we get the 5 of us together and we're doing that thing, and it's the whole unit kind of coming together. And there's going to be other times where there's pockets of 3 or pockets of 2 or pockets of 4, and someone might get left out, and that doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing.
Right.
We can just focus in on the fact that we're strengthening in this area.
Well, and the fact that we have 2 teenagers now, I mean, I think a lot of people that have teenagers can relate. Your kids change. They've got hormones and they've got friends and a lot going on mentally and in their brain, all these changes. And they're not the same little kids anymore. They're growing up and developing their own personalities, and it's an incredible thing to watch and to be a part of. And I'm extremely grateful that I get to be their mom during this time. And I hope that they look back and appreciate how we parented them.
Yeah.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
Totally. I had a realization maybe in the past few weeks about, I have a set of twins. They're teenagers also. And then I also have a set of younger kiddos, 7 and 8. And it's like, again, the paradox again is so, and the contrast so interesting that the little ones, they're always like, Daddy, look at this, and let me show you this, and look at this, and look how I flip, and look at the thing that I just colored, and check this out, and all these things. And so if you're in that stage right now with your kids, you're like, oh my goodness, like they just want me to see everything, and it can be overwhelming, right? To like just be like constantly your name being called out for things that to you might be like, oh my goodness, like do I need to really look at all the things? But we do, right? And then having the teenagers that like sometimes it's like radio silence for like days, and you're like, oh my God, I don't even know what happened yesterday with them, like I don't know what's going on in their world. And so to hear almost like zero is just to me it's challenging, because I'm like, man, it used to be the same with the teens, right? Like it used to be like, Daddy, look at all the things. And now it's just like, hey, how's your week going? What you been up to? And so I got the fortune to talk to 2 sets of different twins this weekend. They're older, and they were saying that at 17, at the same age that my kids are, they also grew apart from each other, and they ended up reconnecting. And he's like, it's kind of like magnets. Like we went apart, and then we just reconnected even harder. Exactly.
That's like playing with 2 magnets.
Yeah, just like that. That's crazy. I just didn't even think about that. So anyway, so it gives me a lot of hope that, like just the things that are the different seasons and stages that we go with our kids. And so just to hang on to the things that are going on right now, because next season you might miss what's happening this season. So
For sure.
Well, speaking of miss, what you're saying lands with me deeply right now, because I had a pretty big miss over the weekend. I was gone all week, Monday through Friday. I was in Virginia facilitating, and so Saturday we were kind of just out on a family walk, and Brinley, our middle, was starting to say something to me. And again, she is our, of our 3 children, the one who prefers introversion. So it's a little harder for her to kind of claim her space, and here she was starting to say something. And as she's kind of getting into it, Brianna's also walking up, and I've missed my wife for the week. And so I grabbed Bri and I put my arm around her and I went to give her a kiss. And in doing that, I ignored Bryn. Like she was, and I just saw her shrink, and I saw her move away, and I saw her start and I felt it. I was like, oh my gosh. And so I had to kind of chase her down, and I give her a ton of credit. She verbalized that like that had negative impact for her. Like, you weren't even giving me your attention. And I caught it and was able to own it and apologize and name to her, I'm very aware that you are in a transition right now where I'm not going to get a lot of at-bats. And so if you come to me and you say something and I show up like that, you're going to quickly just write that story that it's not worth it to communicate with me. And I do not want that. So can I please have another chance? Like hey, the rest of the family, go away. I'm walking with Bryn for a little bit, right? Like so it ended okay. But what you're talking about, that window and that season of maybe growing apart and some of that, communication starting to dwindle, I feel like I have a really active role in how quick that does or does not dwindle, right? I just really want to keep our kids talking.
I know. Yeah, same. And you do a lot of talking and listening, and you are a very safe space for them, which I totally admire. And we have a couple of our girls who just love that about Dad. Like, he offers so much wisdom and advice, and they journal and they take notes, and it's pretty incredible.
If I'm being honest, sometimes I wish you were my dad. It's so true.
I don't think my kids would tell you that you should wish that.
Maybe it would be your favorite. I don't know.
So you would definitely be my favorite.
Bringing it back a little bit, how cool though that you were able to recognize that and act on it, because I feel like a lot of parents might recognize it, and the more that they just like they don't act on it, it just becomes a numbing process, right? Of like,
well, I think that's super interesting. We ended last time that the three of us were chatting about, we talked about the secret to marriage, right? Or the secret to a long-standing relationship. And, Bree, you said a lot of forgiveness, a lot of grace. We kind of use that to make the connection to compromise. I think it is super important for our kids to see and hear us apologizing.
Mm-hmm.
I think like us modeling the ability to own negative impact for them and for people around them is huge. And sometimes I'll hear from a lot of people that like they don't like to fight in front of kids, and then they also like they try to handle it all behind closed doors, but they're really smart.
They pick up on stuff.
They do. And so like a lot of times they'll know when there's tension, or they'll know when or they'll hear the start of a disagreement or an argument. Mm-hmm. And sure, maybe there's some value in us having that conversation, discernment on what they should or shouldn't be hearing and digesting, but we think there's ton of value in them seeing us navigate that challenging situation and get to a place where it's like, hey, yeah, I didn't handle that well, and I'm willing to apologize here. And I know that exchange had ripples for you and creates a wake for all of you. So I'm going to own that also. Again, I love Dr. Becky Kennedy. I sent you a post from her this morning.
Yeah. Mother's Day hangover.
Mother's Day hangover post. But she says, a great line you can use with your kids when you've missed is, just like you, I am still learning to navigate and control my emotions. Right? Like I'm 42 years old and I'm still learning to do that. And I have a fully developed prefrontal cortex, and my nervous system's not constantly deceiving me like yours is as a teenager. So yeah, those are just some things that I think come up for us often in wanting, and sure, getting the awareness, right? I could point back to George Mumford's tool. It has to start with awareness. Then I've got to move through acceptance in that moment real quick, which is like, here I am again, messed up. Don't need, Jelly Roll says, guilt's not going to help you grow and shame's not going to help you shift. So it's, let me change what I can accept and move it to action, right? What's the compassionate action I can take here? I need to go apologize to my kid. And I need to say, that's not how I want to show up. Brene Brown calls it, tell them it's an empathetic miss and you want a do-over.
Yeah.
Kids love do-overs.
Yes,
right?
they do.
They love
I
it.
love do-overs.
Right? So if you can just say, hey, can I have a do-over? Please try telling me that thing again, because I'm super interested. Mm-hmm. All right. Your hot mom distracted me. I'm sorry.
And I've been out of town for a week.
I want to bring us back to paradox. You both kicked us off with paradox. You were real quick, on the paradox of Brianna's experience in yesterday's Mother's Day. But high level, paradox is really the idea that leads us to naming this podcast Leadership And, right? That I've talked with both of you a lot. I think most things in the world and in our life are paradox. It's yes and, two things that are both true that seem to be in opposition to each other. Come back to the idea of Mother's Day and why Mother's Day is also a very big paradox for me personally, but also for you, Bree. But to get there, and a little preview that some people will know and understand. It's a paradox based on my relationship with my mom and Brianna's relationship with my mom, and how that evolved over time. So Mother's Day becomes this paradox of joy and sorrow. Getting to that point curious to hear a bit about like your relationship with my mom, and also this will dip into some of your professional background and things you've done leading up to Lighthouse. So you want to take that and run with it a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Feel free to interrupt anytime. So I went to college, and
Your mom goes to college.
yeah, she does.
Sorry.
I studied liberal arts. I always wanted to be a teacher. And yeah, that was what my plan was, but not everything always goes as planned, right? So I was going to college as we were getting married, and during that time, really connected with your mom, who was a professional speaker and an author, and she approached me a few months before I graduated, and she said, "Hey, when you graduate, I have an opportunity for you. I would love for you to run my business, outside, of course, of the speaking and the writing books. I need somebody who's, gonna communicate with clients, who's gonna get events for me booked on the schedule, travel, everything scheduled for me so that I have time to focus on, my skills and talents." And so shortly after I graduated college, I jumped full time into that job, which was something I could do from home, which she knew would be ultimately what I wanted, because she knew that I wanted to be a mom first and foremost. And so if I'd been a teacher, I would have had to take time off of work. So she was giving me this opportunity to, eventually be a stay-at-home mom. And so I started working for her, and it was an incredible job, one of my favorite jobs ever. I got to grow close to your mom and get to know her beyond just a mother-in-law. She actually became one of my closest friends and confidants. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Somebody I would confide in. And yeah, our relationship grew really close.
And so I've said this before on a previous episode that my mom was in this space.
Yes.
She got her doctorate in organizational leadership. I do joke with people, she was kind of in this space before it was cool.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But she was very into leadership development. One of her books was actually around personality.
Yeah. Yep.
Like how to deal with annoying people. I think I was on the cover actually. Like,
oh no.
She like used me as one of the photos. So yeah, she was doing a lot of keynote speaking. She had a niche within like the fire service industry and helping people that were working for fire departments promote. So she would kind of like an executive coaching type track, helping them get ready for promotions. Did write
leadership development
books, quite a few books. Back then, the product was more like DVDs and CDs that would get sold. And so I know you were also responsible for taking those orders in, packaging them up, shipping them out.
Yeah.
You were doing all things administrative, right?
Yeah.
Like inquiry calls, scheduling travel. My mom used to joke with me that she worked for Brianna.
Oh, yeah. She would say that, yeah. I mean, I would design her websites. I would design flyers. I was doing mailings and, yeah, lots of stuff for her. And I got to travel with her from time to time. Went to New Orleans and Canada and Seattle and throughout California. Those were some fun times.
Wow.
So there's like an interesting buildup here, right? When in the leadership series, when we talk about telling origin stories and people, leaning into the idea of vulnerability to fuel connection and just share about the spots in their life that have brought them to where they are today. We will sometimes talk about Oprah Winfrey's book that she wrote with Dr. Bruce Perry. The book is called What Happened to You? And I'll say it in rooms that not typically, but a lot of times when we're just dealing with other humans and someone's, behaving a certain way and you look at them and you're like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong with you? Or there's the Office line, Michael Scott, like, why are you the way that you are?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Hey, there's a reason.
there is a reason. And Oprah and Dr. Perry say we really need to shift that question from what's wrong with you to what happened to you. I say that here because a lot of what we're talking about right now is going to be what happened to me and you. And I think that conversation started a lot earlier when you start talking about some things that happened to my mom as a human. She came from a very, very dark and broken past. I mean, I'm talking like she was left in a hotel room to die at like 18 months old, was found by housekeeping staff.
With her sisters.
Yeah, with sisters.
In a full body cast.
Bad. Lots of family trauma, lots of abuse, you know, pretty much every flavor there. It just was, it was a very dark and challenging history that my mom had. Pregnant at 19, right? My birthday is also paradoxical at this point in my life. All that to say, I lost my mom at the end of 2012 to suicide, and it was a largely traumatic event for me, for Brianna, for our family. Very disruptive. And while, you know, I'm looking to grieve the loss of my mom, it seems very trivial when you put it up against everything else. And it was very real. Brianna also became unemployed, right? Like, so it's not just losing a best friend, a confidant, a mom, a very important person in our life, but now she also doesn't have a job. You want to process any of that or anything that comes up there for you?
Well, let's also mention that we had a 2-year-old at home, and I was 7 months pregnant, and we had temporarily moved out of our hometown to another town.
We were in Bakersfield.
Yeah. And so, there was, you know, at the end of the day, the biggest loss was losing his mom. The job, and at the time, you know, you're losing finances and losing a job that I love, but I loved it because of her. So she was definitely the biggest loss there. That was an extremely difficult time. I remember, you know, being 8.5 months pregnant and like having panic attacks and, you know, just dealing with that loss, and then watching Josh and his sister grieve the loss. I don't think there's ever been a darker time.
It was really heavy. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can still remember a little 2-year-old face looking at me when I took the phone call, for sure. Right. And I see it clear as day. Like, Daddy, everything okay? And I was like, no, like not, you know? So you talk about paradox. And so you get to like, last year, 2025 was the first time I ever like publicly posted anything about, you know, how I feel on Mother's Day, and it was on LinkedIn. I hadn't yet kind of re-engaged with the more social. I feel like LinkedIn's like more professional social media. And so I reshared it yesterday on Facebook, and really just with the idea that, look, for the longest time, Mother's Day was just straight up hard. Like I didn't show up well for a handful of years. And I know that Brianna was walking the tightrope of tension, and how can she even feel honored as a mom when I'm a mess in this. And this feels heavy even right now. Like, I just want to name that, like talking about it feels heavy. And I've got a lot of feels and thoughts and things coming up inside of me. Like, what are you doing? Why are we here? Right. And I think it's really important, because one of the things I was able to communicate to Brianna over this last weekend and coming into Mother's Day this year is that you've healed a lot of those things in me. And so while it used to feel very paradoxical, because it was like, gosh, how do I get away from this sorrow, this hurt, and this pain and come to this side of joy? I don't feel that as much. And it is still paradoxical, but the tension feels so much less, and my ability to lean into the joy and the happiness and the celebration of who you are as a mom and where we are in our life is amazing. And I would not have gotten there without your leadership and grace and patience and walking through that together. So
thank you. I'm glad that you found some healing. I know it's not all me. But yesterday it definitely felt different.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I know for a fact, having shared it publicly now, that there are other people in the exact same boat. In the exact same boat. Like, some that are still trying to get off of the sorrow, pain, hurt side and find the joy, and others that are more still in kind of in the middle of that tension of yes and others who have found the healing and are able to, you know, recognize it and celebrate mom for who she was, and still lean into some of these others. So I think it's a worthy conversation, as hard as it is to lean into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's rough, man. Like, as somebody that has gone through similar story like yours, it is so hard. It is so hard to live in that, you know, that paradox, that stage of you still want to remember those people, and I think in remembering we tend to land in just the last maybe stage of their life, and so we just tend to land there. What has helped me has been to really back a little bit and say, okay, that was just the end, but there were so many chapters before that. And so when I focus on the life, the journey, the good stuff and the bad stuff too, but like just the journey itself instead of just that last chapter, it tends to help me a little bit to be like, okay, that person was a whole book, not just that last page.
Yeah.
And so that helps me tremendously deal with it, because then I'm like, oh, we had great Mother's Days. We had this adventure and we had this and we had all these things. And then that allows me to be like, okay, we're just all on this journey and we're just traveling in this train. And just because somebody got off of the train doesn't mean that they were never here and they were never a part of the joy in here. And so anyways, that's something that helps me. If there's anybody out there that is wrestling with that,
I'm sure there will be.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I know how proud your mom would be for where you're at today, like as a dad, as a husband, as this guy in this business. You would make her so proud. This is what she wanted for you.
Yeah, I get I get a message like that every once in a while from some people that knew her.
Yeah.
I actually got one just like a month ago. It was around my birthday. It's like, your mom would be really proud of you. And it's like, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny, right? Because I would say as soon as, very quickly, like when my mom passed, there were quite a few people that were like, are you going to pick up your mom's work? Like, your mom is in this leadership development, you know, but I was pretty well entrenched in fitness, like very well entrenched. And that credibility hurdle that you and I talked about, Patrick, in episode 1, right? Of like me asking that core question of my mom, like, who do you think you are doing this? Like, there was no way that my ego would have allowed me to do that. And really it would have been ego in a negative way. Like, it would have been kind of like the judge saboteur side of my brain saying like, you have no permission to step into this space, right? And so Chris Freed has this great line, like, when the student's ready, the teacher arrives. Yeah, he's the one that taught me that. And so it's just all about timing. And again, even when I did start contemplating moving into this space, which I'm going to pass that ball to you here in just a second, because you're a big reason as to why I did step into this space. Being able to do so with confidence and being able to feel like, hey, you know what? I don't have to have it all figured out. It's that whole repeat after me. I'm allowed to be a work in progress and help others grow at the same time, right? So it's been a journey for sure. Let's talk about stepping into this space. So, Give Fitness was kind of coming to a close. I've already talked on here about that. I saw that coming and I started transitioning into business consulting and dabbling in that area. But we were contemplating something else pretty big.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty big. My brother lives in Maui and he owns an electrical company and solar, and he had hired Josh for some consulting.
So it was like leadership management type stuff.
Yeah, either you would go out to Hawaii or we'd go together, or we'd bring the whole family a couple times a year. It seemed like for a couple of years maybe you were doing that. And he offered you a full-time job.
And we were we were planning to take it. It was like, okay, we're going to move to Maui. I'm going to, do this. We're going to shift out of consultation work into kind of full time for his electrical contracting company. And I would say it got pretty close to the pulling the trigger and actually making it happen. And Brianna kind of sat me down and was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, what do you mean? What am I doing? I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to, the gym's not going to be a thing for in the foreseeable future. In the immediate future, it's not going to be a thing. We need the next thing. And she really just looked into my soul and was like,
you're not going to be happy.
This is the time. You're not going to be happy. Everyone has always said you need to essentially work for yourself, that you need to do your thing and invest in you and not go to Maui and work 60 hours a week for my brother and not even see the beach or your family. And it's like, come on, what are you doing? And it was really motivating, really encouraging, but also really daunting because I didn't really have a clear path to what that meant. It's not like I had this side hustle I was working on. I was like, oh, okay, I'm just going to pour all my energy and fuel over here. It was almost a little bit out of nowhere in what you were saying to me. But it was the thing that
was the catalyst.
It really was.
Yeah.
It's what shoved me into going, okay. In fact, that was what I think the next day I went on a walk and I was like, well, what am I going to do? And I could probably find the page in my journal. Like, I just want to make content with Patrick, right? I want to consult local businesses. I want to blah, 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 blah. Then that ended up being the thing that set me up for, getting introduced to Tim and Joe and making my way into Lighthouse.
I remember that season when you were talking about Hawaii, and I, selfishly, I was pretty sad. So I was like, man, my brother. But I want to pull a little bit into this. What I wrote in my notes was dual leadership, because I feel like you tend to, spear the leader role in your family. But how cool that, Bri, you were able to, as Chris Fela says it, I think he says it this way. He calls our spouses our equal powerful, I believe. He uses the word equal for sure. The powerful,
Powerful equal.
Powerful equal, is that what he says?
Yeah, I think that's how he says it.
Powerful equal, yeah.
Powerful equal.
Which I think is beautiful, because I think especially in marriage, if I tug a little bit into the marriage realm, I don't necessarily think there's always just the driver and the passenger seat. I think it's a little bit of like the wheels in between you two. And usually one of you is the one taking the wheel, because somebody has to. Otherwise, you can be pulling at two different directions. But it's so cool to have somebody in your life that can say, hey, I don't know if we should be going that direction. We need to pull back to this because of what I know of you and because of what I've known of our family and all the needs and all the wants. We should go this way. And so how cool that you are also able to let her take that wheel and listen to her. So
100%. I think it really reminds me, maybe because I just re-listened to this in our second episode when we talk about leadership, management, followership, and the different roles and how you spend, different percentages of your day in each role. And so while I might spend the majority leading, Brianna also very much leads. And so you hear, and it's kind of an interesting cycle, right? Because getting into the conversation, you hear her speak. I'm finger quoting, speaking truth to power. She's giving honest feedback and saying, what are you doing? I don't know that this is a great call. I have to have the posture of being willing to listen to her. A leader who listens and a follower who speaks up going to make an unbeatable team. And I then have to shift around into letting her lead and hearing what she has to say and setting some new direction and strategy. In that moment, she's inspiring and empowering and motivating me to go chase this new thing, right? And so, yeah, there's some dual leadership happening and us kind of moving between those roles in that dance of that could shift twice in a 10-minute conversation, right? But the importance of knowing I'm not going to have all the answers, she's not going to have all the answers, but together, everyone achieves more. We make a great team.
Say more about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's my favorite acronym for team. Together, everyone achieves more.
Yeah,
So it's just a matter of how do we come, and that's what we said when we talked personality, right? Is that because we're different in a lot of areas, we do make a very phenomenal team.
Yeah. I mean, lots of communication. I think if you see something, you want something, it's important to speak up. You know, it's how you get what you want, or you at least, come to some kind of conclusion. You both getting what you want together.
Real quick before we move on from this, any advice from what I know about you, Bri? You're maybe a little more on the introvert side.
What?
And being married to somebody that is almost the opposite in that area and more, more dominant, I guess, if you will. Any advice on what helps you being able to speak up and, like is the space maybe that he's making, or what kind of things help you being able to voice what you see, what you're, feeling you're being called out to, empower your family and to just stand up for maybe your feelings, your thoughts, all of that.
Yeah. Well, I think it takes a couple things. One, the willingness to have the conversation, to step out of my comfort zone. I think tone and body language has so much to do with our communication. If I want something or see something that needs to change, but I come to it with a negative attitude and basically you suck, or he's not going to receive that very well. So that's key, knowing how to communicate to somebody. So I can manipulate them. Just kidding. And then the other thing is for the receiver to be open to receiving the information, asking each other the right questions and having conversation about it.
Yeah. And I'm assuming there's been a journey there to get to that
Huge
point,
journey.
right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like, if we're pointing back to lighthouse language, I think Brianna does a great job of leveraging the 3 C's that we talk about in conflict, which is courage. It's connection, curiosity, courage, right? So she started with the courage. I have to lean in to having that conversation. She does a great job of maintaining connection, right? And then being curious in that. And so I think your focus on how you have that conversation, really important. That's the whole idea of 55, 38, 7. 55% of our intended message is communicated by our body language and nonverbals. You can say a lot. 38% is communicated by our tone of voice, right? Right? 7% words.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the how, really important. But Brianna's also really good at the when. So she's strategic and thoughtful about when to have those conversations. So it's not just what she's saying, how she's saying it. There's a strategic point to when you do it.
Yeah.
That struck a chord on me because that matters so much. If I'm hungry, if I'm tired, like all my, like my week, the ways that I show up in the weakest form, if you come at me with something heavy and serious, I have such a hard time showing up. And so now I've learned a lot of different ways to try to maybe delay that conversation because I just know that I'm not going to do a good job at showing up in that moment. So, but yeah, maybe for those listening out there, like something to be aware of.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and knowing, if he's coming home from a week-long trip in Virginia and he's walking through the front door, that's not the time I'm going to approach him and say, hey, we need to talk about this serious topic.
Well, and you said it's important that the receiver, the listener, is open to having that conversation. And I would say when you said something like there's been a journey to get there, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, we've had a long journey.
Getting feedback early in our relationship was not awesome. At this point in my journey and where I'm at in life is I just operate on the assumption that Brianna can see things that I can't see. I operate on the assumption that she has my best interests in mind. We're on the same team. And so if you're coming to tell me something or let me know about something, I am working to do my best to get in an open posture, a curious posture. What kind of listening do you need from me right now? That I've been using that question a lot in rooms with people, and I've literally had a couple say, like, this is a life changer to just say, how would you like me to listen right now? So, and it's usually the guys, right? And I'm like, so if she's coming at you and you're just like, just pause her real quick. Pause. Hey, how do you want me to listen right now? What are you looking for from me? And if you hear just listening, shut off that solving muscle, shut off all and just kick your feet up and start listening, right? Yeah. And so that's another thing. Is just like, hey, like, is this thing that you're bringing me to, like, do I need to get a pen and paper? Is this like, I'm going to have to take action here? Is this low level? Where are we? You know? So I think those are some little things that help us navigate that stuff.
For sure. I think I have actually a harder time with receiving stuff when he's coming to me. I'm working through that. No, but as growing up, my mom and my stepdad, they've been married for, I don't know, close to 30 years now. But my stepdad came into my life when I was about 7, and they get along super well. So growing up, I didn't hear arguing between the two of them. I didn't see conflict. So Josh comes around when I'm in my teens, and we get married when I'm 20, and there's conflict. We're young. We're trying to figure this out. We are opposites. And I struggled for years when he would approach me and there would be some kind of conflict or him trying to explain something. I'd immediately take offense to it, like, oh, I'm not good enough, or whatever it may be, whatever story I was writing in my head. And so I was just on the verge of breaking up with him before we got married.
Constantly.
Like, this is not normal for you to be coming to me so often with these little things. Like, what kind of relationship deals with conflict? And now I have learned that conflict is a gift. And as hard as it may be to go through a very difficult conversation, in that moment, I am learning about Josh and he is learning about me, so that when the next time that particular situation comes up again, maybe we can handle it more carefully or a little differently because we know each other better at that point because we've already gone through it.
Wow.
That's really good.
Yeah.
You're still learning. Conflict's a gift.
I'm still learning.
Yeah.
And I don't like conflict still.
So you're speaking to one of the, I think, hardest mindset shifts that we ask of participants, right? Because when we ask at the beginning, like, tell us about conflict, right? There's a lot of reasons to not want it, not like it, not enjoy it, to have a negative story about it. The exercise we do in the room is we make a T-chart, and we say, hey, tell me. It's a cost-benefit analysis. What does conflict cost you? Tell me all the things that, like, why are we afraid of it? Why do we armor up? Why do we hide from it? Like, what does conflict cost, right? And what do you think some of the things we start hearing right out the gate are? What would you put on that list of what conflict costs?
Breakup.
Okay, so the relationship. It can cost the relationship. What else? What other costs are there? Time,
disappointment,
feelings, disappointment, energy, money.
I was going to say money.
Trust. It costs you your happiness. It costs. It's a long. I purposely write it in red. Right. It's a long red list, and it's like, this sounds expensive, team. No wonder, right? And then you say, okay, some of you will need this word. What are the potential benefits of conflict, right? Brianna would need that word. What are the potential benefits of conflict? And you'll hear some people start, oh, well, if it goes well, and I don't say anything. I was like, yeah. So, all right, what are the potential benefits of conflict?
Relationship grows closer.
The relationship's better. Save energy. Maybe save time.
Next time.
Maybe you save money. Maybe. And then I said, how is this possible? How is everything that you said was on the cost list is showing up over here on the benefits list? How? What if I told you that the only difference between whether or not you get costs or benefits is directly tied to your ability to navigate conflict?
Yeah. Super important.
They don't like that all the time, though. Well, no. It's directly tied to your ability to navigate conflict. And a lot of them will want to be like, conflict takes two people. What if you're the yeah, I can't be. And then I say, lead them.
Mm.
And it's session 11 of our leadership series. It's at the very end, right? But it's like, yeah, that's your job, is to lead people through this conflict. And if we can have the mindset that I know how to get these green outcomes, if we can navigate this together in an honoring way, then I can shift the initial mindset to say conflict is a gift, because in this gift of conflict, I have an opportunity to learn more about you. I have an opportunity to achieve these green outcomes, which is a stronger relationship, increased trust, more time, more energy, more resource, right? Like, but we have to change that story in order for us to even engage in a way that's going to allow us to get those outcomes. And I'd say that's been a very long journey for us.
Yeah.
One that we're still on and continue to be on, depending on the conflict, right? So, and we define conflict as a disagreement through which the parties involved perceive a threat to their needs, interests, or concerns. A disagreement through which the parties involved perceive a threat to their needs, interests, or concerns, which means it's happening all day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And what's so interesting is that it's just a perceived threat. It's not even a real threat yet.
Right. Like, if I perceive that you're threatening my needs, interests, or concerns, we're in conflict.
Exactly.
So then how do I shift that if I start to see that she's perceiving that threat? Okay, you're going to initially probably get some sort of fight, flight, freeze, fawn response, right? And go, hey, let's change the story. We got this. Let's engage in it. Let's have these conversations.
Yeah. I mean, my natural inclination is to avoid it at all costs. If I'm, upset with a friend, well, I'm just not going to say anything. And I've got Josh over there like, hey, I think you should reach out. Like, be the first one. And then with that particular friend, whoever it is, like, then that's an opportunity for them to learn about who I am. And then I can learn from them, like what worked, what didn't. And your relationships end up growing closer through the conflict.
I don't know any good relationship that I haven't navigated conflict with that person.
Yes.
Maybe Patrick.
I know. That's what I was thinking.
I'm like,
have you
hold on a second. Like,
I feel like we have.
They're low level.
Yeah.
But yeah. What's coming to mind for you?
Moving.
Yeah, I was thinking the same
100%.
thing.
Yeah.
But we had a facilitated, mediated conversation with Chris Finley.
I knew
And
it was involved.
And it was live, which is incredible.
It was super fun.
But yeah, I mean, and I feel like that conflict was, to me, it was not one of those that, I don't know, like the perceived threat, right? I don't think you might have seen that as a threat, like directly. However, I think you had the wisdom to perceive that as a longevity in our friendship threat. Like, hey, if you really want me to be in this relationship with you as a friend, these are some things that I would value if you would include me in.
Sure. I think if we put it in the language, I was perceiving a threat to my interest to be connected, like, right? Like my interest in wanting to be someone who's in that inner ring of helping you do the hard thing.
Correct.
So yeah, I could see it being in that same framework, in that language.
So conflict is all around us, and unavoidable. And so I want to avoid conflict all the time too. And so, ever since I've taken the leadership series, it's reframe my mind completely and like, okay, now I have to have these difficult conversations. And actually, it's more now I get to have these difficult conversations, which is it's a beautiful gift to have and to give. So,
and there are healthy ways to navigate conflict. I mean, we're not over here talking about like yelling and screaming at each other. That's not great conflict. Like,
we say in an
skills.
honoring way, right? And so it's like connection, curiosity, courage are those three tools we that's what we hang the conflict discussion on, right? And so going back, I think when you're saying, her being able to speak that truth, give me feedback, have that conversation, Bree just does a beautiful job of, leveraging those three ideas that we stay connected. She's very curious and she leans into the courage of saying what needs to be said. One of the areas, this is a good connection point here. Like one of the areas where I was going to bring this up based on where we finished last time with the grace, the forgiveness, the compromise, the third path forward, which this is kind of in that same idea of, okay, conflict. It's the same thing when you're, have opposing interests, got to find a third path forward. I thought it'd be interesting / fun to talk about where we've had some differences in our parenting approaches, our parenting styles, and where we've been able to find some alignment, some common ground. When Brianna didn't want to listen back to the episode we recorded a couple weeks ago, I did before coming into this. And when we were talking about decision making, thinking, feeling, what do you do? And you said, is that a place for like hard on the process, soft on the people? And it wasn't the exact thing we were looking to talk about in that moment. But I think that idea of hard on the process, soft on the people does come out in our parenting. People will be shocked to learn. I'll just tell you the short version. I tend to be the hard on the process person, right? And you tend to be more of the soft on the people.
Yeah.
Or soft on the girls.
Yeah.
And we have tended to see some of those things differently. I would say it's been a point of contention at certain spots within our relationship. And so I'm curious to hear how you would say we have navigated that previously and what it looked like to kind of find some tools and resources.
Yeah, well, I think the way that I parent has a lot to do with my personality. Not that you don't have feelings, because you do have big feelings, babe. I am a feeler. And in the moment, a kid gets in trouble, I'm not always like thinking about what they did that was wrong. I'm over here thinking, oh my gosh, they must be feeling so bad about how they just made that poor decision, and they're filled with all this guilt and this shame. And as their mama bear, how can I like tell them, hey, that wasn't cool, and hey, we're good. And then you've got dad who's like, we can't behave this way. We're just, more to the point and less feelings involved. And that's hard for me. That's always been harder for me. To have that parenting difference. And it's been a challenge in our marriage, raising these 3 daughters and trying to find the right way to parent them together. So we've, it took a long time. We would do like little behavior charts when they were little. And then I would say probably 2 years ago, we finally came up with a system that the behavior chart that we could point to that's got like, here's specific language here that we can all agree on. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I would say part of the reason it was unsuccessful at the beginning is because we were making behavior charts. And we were saying,
that's right.
This is how it's going to be. This is the behavior you're going to be in alignment with.
Yeah.
And it was very external. It was, here we go. And a lot of it was us trying to implement hard on the process, soft on the people. Right. And so it's like, look, I want you, Bree, mom, to be harder. And she's like, I want you to be softer. And it's like, oh, okay. Well, can we get a system that you can be critical of, that you can be hard on, and you can keep being soft on it, and then I can also direct my critical energy there and be more soft with them. And when we started that, we made one for them. Yeah. Right. We said, here's the system. And it wasn't going well. And I think around the same time, when you're saying we found a successful system, I was working on a keynote for reframing accountability.
Yeah.
And putting some language and some framework to a new idea around accountability. It was actually it was a discipline talk before accountability. So it was the NMASC down in Coronado Island wanted me to do a talk on discipline. So the idea of external discipline versus internal discipline, right? Alignment. And then moving into this accountability talk, we stole work's language and we brought it home. And we're like, okay, so when we reframe accountability, we use the acronym of a car. We say drive the car. We say accountability starts with clarity. right? At first, like clarity is the key. And if we really want clarity around expectations, around behaviors, around norms, around those kinds of things, the best way for us to achieve that clarity is by co-creating it.
Yeah.
We need to co-create that. And I'm sitting here building this thing, talking about, or you need to bring more voices to the table within the organization, because if you just come out and tell them this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to do it, you're not going to get any buy-in. And I'm like, oh,
light bulb.
That's what's happening. We're telling them this is what you're going to do and this is how you're going to do it. And we're not getting buy-in. So we need co-created clarity, right? And we need to make sure we get to mutual understanding. I think there was so much stuff that we were just saying, you're going to do this. And an example would be like, be respectful. Don't be disrespectful.
Yeah.
Well, we know what that means.
Do they?
I don't know that all three of our daughters have a collective mutual understanding definition around what respect looks like and what disrespect looks like. So that bucket right there, we're like, okay, we need to co-create this clarity. We need to make sure we get to mutual understanding. And then the second part of the car and reframing accountability is you need to move away from assignment and more agreement. So move from assignment to agreement. Organizationally, if people have, and I'm going to quote again, an accountability gap, there's usually one of two things happening. It's usually both, actually. You're not being clear with your you think you're being clear with your expectations, but you're not actually getting to mutual understanding. And most often there's no co-creation. You are coming in and assigning something.
Yeah.
Hey, I got something for you to do. This is what I need you to do. This is how you're going to do it. And this is when I need it to be done by. And then a lot of leaders will ask a version of the world's dumbest question, which is like, sound good? Does that make sense? Right? And then they're doing what you two do, which is they just go, yeah. And you got a very minimal amount of agreement. I might even argue you got fake agreement because you don't really have a sense that, right? So you just assigned them something and then you come back 2 weeks later and your core question is, why haven't you done what I said? Because there was no actual agreement established. So we say, move away from assignment and move into agreement. There's a really simple way to know if you're in assignment mode or agreement mode. If the things that you are saying end in periods and exclamation points, you're giving assignments. If the things you say are ending in question marks, you're creating agreement. And then the final piece of the car idea is to be regular and relational. That accountability is not a performance review every 6 months. Accountability is not, this one real hard corrective conversation. It's regular and it's relational. And so it's like, look, if we co-create clear expectations, we get to mutual understanding, and we've done this through the lens of agreement. We've asked lots of questions, right? Like, hey, I got something for you to do. Like, have you ever done this task before? How do you see going about doing it? And what other things do you have on your plate? What kind of bandwidth? What kind of timeline do you think we need to get this done? What's going to get in the way? Like, I'm making this up. I just asked like 7 questions, right? And so all of that creates a ton of agreement. Then it's regular and relational. Regular and relational. And there's 2 ideas at mind in that regular and relational. You will get more of what you celebrate. So when you see the behaviors in alignment with what you talked about and what you agreed on, hey, great job. Thank you. This is exactly what we planned for. This is, thank you. Get more of what you celebrate, and you will get more of what you tolerate. So the moment you allow something to be happening that's outside of that agreement that you made, you will get more of that. Or I saw this sign at someone's desk at one of our organizations that says, you promote what you tolerate.
Yeah.
Right. So whatever you are tolerating, you're promoting that. I don't know who the quote's by, but there's something about like the lowest, the culture of any organization can be defined by the lowest behavior it is willing to tolerate. And I just had a conversation with someone about that over the weekend about a sports program. Like, you're essentially talking about the culture of your sports program and the culture of your team. The culture of your team will be defined by the lowest behavior you are willing to tolerate. The culture of our family will be defined by the lowest behavior we're willing to tolerate. So if we start tolerating They don't do this. If we start tolerating the girls punching each other in the face when they get upset, I know families that do tolerate that.
Yeah.
That becomes the norm.
Yeah.
We are promoting that. So in that regular and relational bucket, we want to be celebrating the things that we want more of, and we want to be addressing the things that we're not willing to tolerate. That was a big framework for this talk that I ended up giving a handful of times. Got a lot of good traction and response out of it. People tend to like it more as a workshop than a keynote, which is my preference anyways. But we implemented this at home for sure. So I cut you off, and that was a long way of saying that, like, we were giving them a system, and then we moved into
co-creating.
Let's co-create a system. So tell us about co-creating that with the girls.
So, I mean, we sat them down, got out the big piece of Post-it paper, the white paper that you put on the wall and your markers. And we're like, okay, girls, like, we're going to do 3 categories, and we're going to come up with behaviors that you would do where we would reward you for that behavior. And let's come up with a list of behaviors that are just like expected, you know, being kind. It's kind of just an expectation.
I think that's where we started them. We said,
that one
start
first.
with what's expected of you.
And
then what will you get
if you go above and beyond? And then what are some behaviors that you don't think that you should be doing that would maybe get you in trouble?
Warrant a consequence.
Yeah. So the girls just started firing out their lists and agreeing on where those things should land.
We let them pick.
Yeah.
And they did. We had it color coded, right? So it was like green for rewards, blue for expected. It was neutral. It was neutral or expected. And then red marker for strikes. And we have softball players in our house, right? And so put them down here for, like, is that a strike? You know, it's a something that you don't want to see. And how do you think we should handle this? You know, what do you think we should do here? And they kind of got to the 3 strikes, you're out idea. So, you know, 2 strikes are kind of freebies, warnings.
Yeah, you're a human and you're going to be a kid and you're going to bully your sister around a bit. Okay, so let's talk about that behavior. Not cool. You told us that would be behavior that would earn you a strike, negative. So go ahead and put your strike on the chart. Okay, so oh my goodness, an hour later, you're getting into it again. You get another strike. Okay, so you've been warned twice. Now, if we're on the same day and you decide to have more negative behavior, consequence.
And we asked them, what should that consequence be?
Yeah.
And I think at the time they were watching Stuck in the Middle. Is that the show?
I think so.
It's the Jenna Ortega. It's good.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one? It's a Hispanic family and they have a bunch of kids. I can't remember how many kids. It might be like
5.
I think it's more than that.
Maybe.
Yeah. Anyways, she's the middle kid and their term is lockdown.
Yeah.
So if they get grounded, they go on lockdown. And in lockdown, you can't, I mean, on the show, you can't come down for meals. Like it's pretty
Hispanic.
Yeah, you tell me. But it's like no electronics, no privileges, right? Like, and so the girls said, if you get 3 strikes in a day, then you're on lockdown for 24 hours, right? And we were like, that sounds good. We can live with that, right? Like, they also came up with, I can't remember who it was, but they came up with, well, if you're getting, you know, you could get 2 strikes. Like, that would not be very good behavior.
Yeah.
And Brianna and I are like, that would not be very good behavior. And so they came up with, if you get 6 strikes in a week, that also constitutes lockdown, whether that's 2 here, 1 there, 2 there. But again, co-creation and letting them come to the table and advocate for I mean, I don't know that they were advocating. They were answering the questions and putting it down. We felt an immediate shift in our house.
Yeah. Pretty quickly, things started to shift. I mean, in the beginning, there were strikes. So we had 2 of the 3 girls experience lockdown within the first couple weeks, I think. So maybe, after school one day, it was their third strike. So it's like, okay, head up to your room. You can open a book if you want while you're up there, or draw, and we'll let you come down for dinner. And then, you'll go to school the next day. But they got up there and they're like, this sucks. I don't want to be away from the family. Our family thrives on being with each other. We don't have kids that go to their room and spend time in their room. And maybe because we don't allow electronics in their room. You guys can talk about that some other time or now. I don't know.
It's gonna come up.
But there really isn't a whole lot to do in their rooms. But they're welcome to be in their rooms. But they don't like to. So they didn't enjoy that. And so pretty quickly, they were getting less strikes, behaving better, communicating more kindly to their sisters.
Yeah, I
and
think
to us.
I think a couple, as you're talking through it, I'm trying to go to beginner's mindset. I don't know about, what do I know that I don't know. And so I think a couple of things that are important about it are we give them a weekly allowance.
Yeah.
So that chart comes out every Monday, right? So Monday morning, Brianna prints them out, puts them downstairs in our kitchen. We give them a standing allowance, and the allowance is not tied to anything on the chart. So they get $5 a week as thank you for being a part of this family. You're alive. You live here. You're getting that, right? If they get no strikes throughout the entire week, they get a $5 bonus. So their allowance essentially doubles if they get no strikes. If they get a single strike, that bonus goes away. So that first strike is pretty impactful.
Oh, it's a blow.
Although I don't know that we thought it all the way through, because then once they get the first one, they don't care too much about getting. I felt that in Blakely this last week. And then the rewards. So I like alliterations, just like a lot of our clients, right? So we ended up making it sticker, standard, strike. So that was the chart. So, there's the standard. This is the standard expectation of behavior. Here's things that get stickers, and here's things that get strikes. And again, they picked these things, right? So when they display them, we're celebrating the ones that are up. Hey, thank you. You helped your sister clean her room, even though that was not, you went above and beyond. You helped mom when it was not your responsibility. Go get a sticker, right? And the stickers are worth 50 cents a piece. That's when we started. We've moved Braylon into high school wages now, so she gets a $10 allowance and dollar value stickers. But the strikes still strike it out. So that gave us a system, a no joke process and system in our house that we could be really critical of. And part of the reason that they were on board for us to be hard on the process is because they created the process. I would say it was only a couple months. We actually don't have to say much. They kind of self-regulate at this point. They know if they've done something. I've heard the younger two are a little better at it. I'll go put a strike up for that. I own that. That's on me.
I want to tap a little bit into that, because you also said it, Brie, that they go themselves and they put the strike on, which I think, just like taking notes, when you're writing something down that tends to stick more in your mind, I have to assume that for them to have to walk over to that chart and write down the strike in whatever form that is, even if it's just a line.
Yep.
There's got to be some connection there between, their brain, their even processing. I could see myself, if I got in trouble and I had to write it down somewhere, and I have just that physical act has got to be so powerful for them into remembering, man, I don't want to do this again.
That's a great point, Patrick.
That's funny you said that, because early on we had that convo, because there were a couple of times where she put it up for them. And it was more about making sure it was up there and being accountable to the process. And I told her exactly what you just said, is I'm there's a ton of power in them having to go up and put it up themselves. And it puts that ownership back on them. So now it's, hey, you got a strike. If it's not up there by the end of the night, it'll be a second one.
Yeah.
Right. So, because sometimes they try to avoid going and putting it on.
Of course. I would 100%. Nobody wants to, go and, mark themselves, X or tardy or whatever. But even the fact that they recognize, when you were saying that, they're like, oh yeah, if you got 2 strikes every day, that in itself, the fact that they had that awareness of I mean, basically like stopping themselves from cheating the system and saying like, well, I guess I could do this, twice a day and I'll be okay. Like they recognize that would not be good behavior. And the fact that they have that awareness of like, that's something that we need to, have some type of rule against. That is so cool that your girls have that. And I think that's just part of the journey that you guys have been on, and like trying implementing different things and then seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work. And so, man, that's awesome. I can't wait to go home and do that.
Well, thank you. And I would say we probably left the system as it was for probably about 2 years. And then we revisited it because the girls were older. There were some things on there that weren't really appropriate to be on there anymore. As far as strikes, there were some things that really didn't warrant a reward anymore. We told them like, we ultimately want to see this reward stuff make its way into the expected and the standard. And our kids are getting older. And so I'm reading a parenting book right now that is kind of blowing my mind. It's called Feeding the Mouth That Bites You. And the idea that's at play is what he calls planned emancipation, is that we really should be planning for our kids to be fully emancipated. He says by graduating high school, not turning 18, which is really applicable in our house because 2 of our daughters will turn 18 in September, but not graduate high school until the following June. So we'll have them a whole school year as adults. But really, like, that we can't be parenting adolescents the same way that we parent children. And so the intent and idea behind planned emancipation is that by the time they graduate high school, they are in control of every aspect of their life, that they have had reps at making decisions and using their own judgment, and that they've had us as scaffolding and support leading up to that. And I see a lot of people do it the other way, which is just wait until that graduation day or the day that the kid finally decides, and then it's like they're fully on their own and they don't know a lot. And so it's been really interesting to be wrestling with that new idea and starting to shift some of our approaches. I would say primarily with our oldest right now, who is coming up on 16.
Well, I'm just thinking back to when we were kids, when we were teenagers. I feel like our lifestyle is different than the lifestyle that at least our kids have today. And I think a lot of their friends, I felt like at 18 when I was growing up, and when I was 18, I was ready. A latchkey kid. Is that what I was?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had 2 parents that worked, and I'd roam the streets until the lights came on and go home. I'd be waking up in the morning, getting myself ready, packing my own lunch, taking care of my own breakfast, helping out with dinner, doing so many chores. And by the time I was 18, I knew what I needed to do. And I think part of being a stay-at-home mom, I have like so many roles and responsibilities. I haven't quite got them ready yet. And Braylon has 3 more years of school. And so now we're looking at it like, okay, how do we get her ready for the real world? It's coming quick.
It is. And one of the things you said made me think of this, but this idea kind of brings this conversation full circle also. We have made some unconventional, borderline unpopular parenting decisions when it comes to certain aspects. You mentioned technology. So it's been a hill that you and I have been willing to die on. Maybe more me, and you've just been willing to join me on it. I'm not sure. You can tell us about that in a minute. We made a decision early to say we weren't going to give our kids phones. We said high school cell phone, and we said no social media at all until 16. But then I've thrown a little bribe in for our girls where basically I've said, look, I'll pay you $500 per school year, 9, 10, 11, 12, if you go all the way through high school with no social media. And I'll give you $2,000 cash on your graduation day as a non-social media bonus. I'm very confident 2 of them are in on that. Not sure about the third, and that'll be a challenge by choice. Like at 16, you can have the option if you want to engage with stuff like that. Again, kind of in that planned emancipation idea that like, hey, if that is something you are really interested in, I'd rather you do it now, where we can have some oversight and some guidance and scaffolding for you. But the no electronics in bedrooms has been a hard line, and that includes iPads. That include, we have a home iPad. I'll let Brianna speak to. We let the girls use her phone to text and communicate with friends, because we know that that's how communication goes down. But out of on a previous episode, this came up, Patrick, the 2020 perfect storm of watching The Social Dilemma. Then I read Jonathan Haidt's book, The Anxious Generation, about how we've rewired kids from a play-based childhood to a phone-based childhood. And Brianna and I were not willing for our kids to have phone-based childhoods. What have you seen in that bucket, in that area?
It's hard. I want my kids to be the ones that are outside and getting dirty and still being kids. And so much of our world today is technology and wanting to be on a screen as much as possible. So we've had to implement screen times, and we've had to say, no, you may not take your phone into your bedroom, and the phone you're done by, I think we've extended it to 10 o'clock now for our oldest.
Well, and the only reason she has a phone now because she's in high school.
Yes.
So this is new. This is the first year we've been tackling.
Almost a year now.
But
there's been some challenges. And it's hard because it doesn't feel like there are a lot of parents doing what we're doing. And so there's, I think, a big comparison game. Like, so-and-so lets their kid do this. Or, you'll see the phone and it's like kids are texting our daughter at midnight on a school night. Like, what are you doing? Are parents not paying attention to this? So I fully believe in having limits for screen time and keeping it out of the bedroom. I'm totally okay with that and on board.
And I think one of the reasons that works for us is because we model it. So we don't take phones in our bedroom either. And that's, there's a lot of science and research out there, a lot of reasons to advocate for that. And a lot of times I hear people say that ship has sailed, like meaning that like that rope's been given and it's too hard to pull back. And I would just, if anyone's in that boat, I would challenge you and I would encourage you to think harder about that and what it might look like for a reset there. Because it's super valuable. And I would say at least the kids that our daughter's communicating with, it doesn't seem that the parents are looking and paying attention because of the vast amount of stuff that we've seen and found in there. And it's hard. I know you're in the same boat, man. So tell us.
Oh yeah. With us, it was we were with the same mentality of not wanting our kids to have phones, and so when our teenagers entered high school, they joined band, and it was the first time, like, they had a flip phone. We gave them a flip phone because we're like, okay, sometimes, they walk home from school and we just need to, like, if they need to communicate, like, hey, this happened, or I need a ride or whatever. And at band, they asked them to have a smartphone. And I was so against that. I was like, wait, why do they need a smartphone for band? Like, how does this help? And it was apparently something to do with, like, when they're doing, like, the choreographed, like, moves and all that stuff on the field, they needed, like, to have, like, a GPS tracker thing. Like, went beyond my, like, pay grade, I guess, if you will. But I was still pushing back. I'm like, wait, how did people do it back in the day? And it was like, well, if you want your kid to be the only one with a paper and this and that, like, it's just going to be really hard for them. And so I was still pushing back. And unfortunately, like, we co-parent. And so on the other household got them a phone, and I was really against it, but there was not much I can do to enforce all of the rules that we can enforce at home. And so also for people that are co-parenting, I think there are challenges that I am super aware that sometimes you might have a set of rules at your house and the other house just doesn't have those rules. But yeah, in our house for the longest time, we were like, nope, no screens anywhere, no screens, in the bedroom. Like, with our younger ones now, they are not even used to iPads, phones. Like, there is a little bit now where, and my wife can tell you this, like one of their favorite things to do for the little ones with me is that at night before bed, like, maybe an hour before, so they'll sit down with me and they'll ask for funny videos. Can we sit down and watch some funny videos? And so I already have like a list of like pre-videos that I've seen and watched and all that stuff. And so it's like the little humor that they get before going to bed. But it's super remote away from like social media, and I want them to. And I just had a conversation with my 8-year-old the other day about social media, how, and I think this taps into this conversation of the difference in generations. Like, like you, Brie, like I was also raised where like I just got home and I was just in charge of myself and making sure that everything was taken care of. And if I heard any type of noise by the door, I would like kind of like, Home Alone, like I just started setting traps and maybe not traps, but I was like locking the windows and locking the doors and all this stuff. And now I feel like this generation is so like, that's not even on the radar. It's just all about this computer, the how am I interacting with people, not in person. And it's so challenging because I know that that's the world that they are growing up in. And I kind of compare it a little bit to like when people say like, well, like when, I know like my wife's grandpa will say something like, well, when I was your age, I was able to buy a car and a house and this and that. And they compare prices on things. You're like, well, a house and a car were way cheaper compared to like the income that you made. So there's all those differences, right? All those nuances. And so it's definitely tricky to be, to implement some of those rules with our kids, particularly because of the co-parenting side. But we do as much as we can on like screens are just super, super dangerous. And I still need to implement the like for us, like no phones in our bedrooms. And I know that I use the like, well, I have like this sleeping app thing that tracks my sleep and blah, blah, blah. And the more I think about it, I'm like, do I really need that?
You'd
Like,
probably sleep better without it.
and I guarantee you that I can wake up and tell you how I slept.
Yeah.
Just based on,
Not great.
exactly. Yes. I don't need an app to tell me, oh, you slept at 73% efficiency last night. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah. And I think that's something that with Lighthouse, we used to advocate really hard for. Get an alarm clock if
For
that's
sure.
the thing that's stopping you from,
Yeah.
from
They're $8.
exactly.
It's a deep puddle.
deep one.
And people are strangely passionate about, certain sides of this conversation. One thing, this I don't know, this will probably land various ways with various people, but one thing is you can't have it both ways. And so like, I don't know that I would say screens are super dangerous. I would say they're very addictive. And so we need to have an awareness of like, am I controlling this screen or is this screen controlling me? And am I engaging in it in healthy ways? Am I addicted? Right. And it's like Simon Sinek has that great video that we show in the leadership series on leadership and technology where he says, look, if you are checking your phone before you say good morning to your spouse or significant other, that is because you have an addiction. Right? And a lot of us like don't want to say that. Like,
yeah, it's
but
hard to admit.
if we had another vice right next to our bed, like a bottle of alcohol or a pack of cigarettes or, name it. And that was the first thing you reached over and grabbed. You were just like,
that'd be a problem.
Right? You'd be like, oh man, that's a problem. But we reach for this glowy, shiny thing, and it's like, well, everyone's doing it, right? But what I mean when I say you can't have it both ways is that I think there's a lot of parents who are frustrated by cell phone addiction or screen addiction, and it was also the thing that you handed them in the restaurant, right? And so I see it. The reason I see it so much is because we've always been anti. So it is not uncommon for multiple people to come up to us at restaurants and say stuff because, from the time our kids were super tiny, we have always asked for extra coloring sheets. We have always brought a deck of cards. We have always brought dice. I mean, Brianna, in her purse, when we go out anywhere, she always has a deck of cards and Yahtzee. So it's a baggie with 5 dice and Yahtzee scorecards folded up into the baggie. We can take it anywhere and everywhere. And couples will come up to us, it's so cool that you guys are playing games, right?
And interacting.
The servers will come up to us. They'll like say things. Our daughters are older now. Like our 16-year-old still asks for coloring sheets when we sit down, because they're not just coloring sheets. We can play tic-tac-toe on them. We can play hangman. We can, we do these things at restaurants where and we play one of our favorite games, which is we make up stories about other people and their families. And so we'll be like, what's going on over here? First date? Last date? What's happened? Like, and it's taught them to have like some wonder in the world. It's taught them how to be present. It makes them phenomenal conversationalists. I can't tell you, I mean, you're one of them, but I can't tell you how many people are constantly telling us your kids are different. And I'm like, listen, our kids are different because very early, we kept telling them our family's different. Honestly, I mean, for a while, Brian was like, why do you keep telling them this? I'm like, because they're gonna need to know, like, our family's different. And if you can trust that we are on your team and we want the best things for you, but it's going to be different when you don't have the phone. It's going to be different when you take a month off and are in Mexico for the entire month of July, right? Not other families can do that. Like there's things that are going to be, some of them are going to be awesome and others of them are going to be harder for you to understand.
Yeah.
Right? But we're different.
Totally. I got to see, just tapping back on the, like, how cool is this that when we were going to Costa Rica last year, I remember vividly, we're at the airport and your girl sat down to play cards while we're waiting for our flight. And just a stranger, a random girl with her family was sitting pretty close by, and just those kids came over. And like, I think it was like maybe more than one girl. It was like two, maybe a couple of girls. Like, just randomly came over, sat on the floor and just started playing cards with your kiddos. Like, that to me is like, and then you could still look around and you can see other kids on their iPads, even with headphones, where they're like immersed in that world. And they don't realize that there are other human beings their age that they could relate to, they can connect to, they can like just interact, because we tend to close our world into just like this screen and headphones. And it's getting worse. I mean, now we're putting like the screen even closer to our eyes. We're putting the screen literally in our glasses. We're putting like all of that
and
stuff.
Shoving the headphones inside our ear.
Deeper. Yeah. Yes. I mean, yeah, seriously, that's so good. And so to me, that was so remarkable, like just to see that interaction. I mean, one of my 17-year-olds was there too, and he was just having a ball playing Uno, like, every night, and like incredible. So that I think is amazing. I think for parents listening out there, and that this might seem something like so foreign, or like you even said, like to bring that rope back in that you've let go a little bit too much, like you are ultimately the leader of your family. You are the one leading. And so one of the best ways we can do is just like Josh said, like lead by example, start there
and own it. Like, and you be part of it. So come back to if maybe someone's contemplating doing something different here, right? I would say this would be a great opportunity to own your fingerprints on it. So something in the sense of like, hey fam, hey team, I would love to sit down and just talk about our like collective relationship with technology, where it's showing up in certain places. Obviously it's a super useful tool. I'm feeling like I've let this go a little too far. We probably should have had conversation about this sooner. Let's co-create. What do y'all think? Like, what would it look like to have, lower the bar, start small, one family dinner, a week that is just phone and device free, or, every time we go out to eat, we're going to commit to not, it's like lower the bar so that you can start to get some momentum on that. But yeah, I would definitely encourage leaning into that if it's coming up for anybody.
Yeah. And just to be fair, we are not perfect by any means. I mean, on that, after they played cards before that flight, they got out the iPad on the flight. They come home from school, the first thing they want to do is chill out for 20 minutes and turn on the iPad. It's balance.
For sure.
Yeah.
I can tell you, going back to what you said with the band story, Patrick, the systems can sometimes frustrate me quite a bit. Like when Braylon got to middle school, she made the volleyball team, and we found out pretty quickly that like practice times were being communicated through a group text thread. So we literally, I think she was brought to a practice and no one was there because the practice had gotten moved and it wasn't, and it's like, that's not okay. It's not okay from my perspective, I should say. Okay, I'll just get passionate. Right? From my perspective, it's not okay for a school-sanctioned activity, an extracurricular activity through school, to only communicate through a group text message. And now you're telling me that like I have to go get my kid a phone to participate in this?
Yeah, at least in middle school. I mean, we're talking like 11, 12 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or that like you're not supposed to have. We're in high school now, right? Not we. She is in high school. That's in the parenting book I'm reading. Or for parents that say like, well, we started out the year well, but we're struggling now. And he's like, are you enrolled in her class also? Like, it's her class, not yours. She's in high school. They're not supposed to have phones. Like, it's in class. It's a school policy. And like first week of school, she's texting me from class. And I'm like, what's going on? Oh, the teacher just told us to be on our phones. We don't have to do anything. And I'm like, or the teacher would be like, pull out your phone and look this up. Or like, you know, the free time here, you can go on your phones. Like, what are you doing? Because you'll get what you tolerate. And so now you're just inviting it in. So yeah, I can.
We could go on forever.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite area.
No, I mean, she's still texting us. Hey, I have free time. Can I watch a show? Everyone else is watching Netflix right now. Starbucks or Dutch Bros. Everyone else is watching Netflix right now. And it's like, sorry, man, but
it's like my favorite dad post.
Bring a book.
I texted my daughter, I'm so proud of you, all the effort you're putting in. You're crushing it. Respond. Thanks, bro. Can you get me Starbucks?
Oh my goodness.
I was not ready for the transition from dada to daddy to dad to bruh.
Oh, I mean, this reminds me a little bit of what you were saying earlier about the respect, you know, like what we take as respect, and then reminds me of Shrinking. Remember they're like, oh, my bad, bro.
My bad. So
great
good.
show.
Shrinking's amazing.
Shrinking is amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay, so I mentioned some parenting decisions we made. I'm gonna go all the way back to the beginning, actually, when we were getting ready to become parents.
Okay.
We made an unconventional, unpopular decision.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I know. And it's been one that I've just heard you encourage and advocate for with other people. So curious if you want to share a little bit right out the gate, becoming parents, what we did that was a little different.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while. You might remember more details than me, but I feel like you were at my OB appointment with me and our midwife, Helen, who we were hoping her or one of the other ladies in the office would be there when Braylon was being born. And I think she may have been the one to make the recommendation. Hey, have you considered not telling anybody that you're in labor and you're headed to the hospital? I've made this recommendation to people and no one's ever done it, but I just feel like when you're delivering, you want the attention on you, just the two of you. And what I'm noticing is that a lot of people are distracted by the family members or friends that are showing up at the hospital. And they're answering text messages, and it's creating a sense of like stress for both the mom and the dad. So just a thought. And we left that appointment like, this is gonna hurt, but I think
not us.
Yeah, no, I think we're gonna be okay. But this is just some feelings that might get hurt here. So we agreed. Hey, when you go in labor, we're not going to tell anybody, and we're going to have this baby, and we're going to bond with her for the first couple hours, and then we'll let people know, hey,
I wonder if that was our miss. Was our miss telling people that that's what we were going to do? Maybe we should have just done it and not even told them that we were going to do that.
I don't know. It's like, maybe if you're on the receiving end of that information, you might like the heads up as opposed to just being like slammed in the face, like, oh, it already happened. So I don't know. It really probably depends on your family.
Mixed bag of reactions, I would say.
Yeah, we had a mixed bag of reactions. Yeah, we had lots of support, and some hurt feelings.
And the outcome was, for us.
I loved the experience.
We did it 3 times.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the second time we had one person
because they had to watch our other.
And then again she watched them the third time, and I think the third time we may have told a couple people, and sure enough, someone showed up. But, anyway, it was such a great experience. And our midwife Helen, who actually ended up delivering all 3 of our daughters. Like, what are the chances? She couldn't believe we actually pulled it off.
Yeah,
that we did it. She was so proud of us. Loved watching our experience. And
I'm not gonna lie though, I kind of think that was part of the reason Brianna wanted to do it. I think you loved Helen so much that when she suggested it and Helen was like, no one's ever done this, you wanted to be gold star patient.
Well, yeah, maybe. And I like a challenge.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever done it. I want to do it.
I knew it.
Yeah, I like being different in that way. I like a challenge. And so that was a good challenge, challenging to deal with all the feelings and everything. But we pulled it off, and we encouraged
multiple friends
that ended up doing the same thing and loved their delivery experience.
Yeah, I don't know what I don't know, so I don't have anything to compare it to at this point, but I can, having talked with other dads, just the ability to be fully 100% present, not having to worry about updating anyone, sending text messages, nothing, no one in the waiting room. And then, it's the first arrival of a human that you created, and we didn't have to share that time. I think all 3 times we took a handful of hours.
We did.
It was just us right there, and it was pretty beautiful.
Yeah,
but it didn't come without.
Because as soon as your family shows up, it's like
over. Your kid's gone.
Yeah, and it's like, this is my first opportunity to be with this child, and now for the next 2 hours, you can't touch him.
Yeah,
I can't imagine.
And if I'm your kid, what a gift that you made that space and that time to receive me, to say, hey, listen, you are so important to us. Before you even get into this world, that we're going to make this space, this padding, that it's all about you. It's all like, oh, that's got to feel so good.
It was super cool.
Yeah.
It was super cool.
Goodness.
But not for everyone.
Yeah.
Meaning it wasn't super cool for everyone.
Yeah.
And that choice is obviously not for everyone.
Well, now that I'm a parent and I consider that our daughters may have the same experience that we did, they may choose to go down that path. It's like super cool. And then I get it. Part of me is like, oh man, I would really love to be there, but also I know I'm not needed anymore. That their husband, the father of their child, is the one that has.
Who's that? Who's this?
They've stepped up.
Who's the guy?
Well, for me, it's you, but for them, who knows who the guy's going to be? But it's their responsibility.
Yeah.
And I mean, and from your perspective, right? Like, also, if you were to wait a few hours, like, I don't think that's going to change how you show up to your grandkid or how you even show up to your daughters.
Yeah.
Is not gonna change.
Yeah.
Preach it.
And I'm saying this because I hope that I'm gonna feel the same way.
Yeah.
But like I think your girls having that space too, and knowing that mom and dad feel okay about this too,
Yeah.
like that's such a huge support. And so that gives them that space and that allowance of like, hey, let's have this moment as our new family. And then, grandparents and, everybody else can start showing up. So I think that's rad.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It was pretty cool. It was something I definitely wanted to plug in there.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that came up, not too unconventional or unpopular, but our kids are well traveled, mostly because we love to travel, and that's something that started relatively early in our relationship. I remember right out the gate we had that fun trip to Maui. And then we did Disneyland and Universal Studios. I remember that was super fun. What are some trip highlights that you and I have gone on that you think are worthy of sharing? And then we'll talk about some of the things we've done with the girls.
How much time do we have?
We've got plenty of time. All the time.
I'll hit on a couple of them. We've had a couple of really great trips to Jamaica years ago.
We went for our honeymoon.
Yeah, we went for our honeymoon, and then like 2 years later, something like that. Though that was an incredible experience.
Yep.
We've also
hold on.
Yeah.
You verbally with your tone put a little asterisk to it, and people are gonna be like, "What's going on there?" So
how many details do we give? Okay,
small, high level.
Yeah. Well, we wanted to redo that really cool Jamaica experience, but we wanted to level it up a little bit for our 20th anniversary
Last year.
So we paid a pretty penny to stay at a beautiful all-inclusive resort, and within 24 hours, we were, let's
Very
just
sick.
say, test came back that I had salmonella poisoning, and you had something else.
I had salmonella.
I had salmonella, and you had something that started with an R.
Oh yeah, rotavirus.
Rotavirus.
And that's right.
We were like deathly ill.
Happy 20 years.
Yeah.
Are you done in the bathroom?
Hurry up.
Yeah, my turn.
Yeah.
That was rough.
Oh,
We still like Jamaica. Super cool. If Brianna's like, I could take it or leave it at this point.
Yeah, I wanted to go to more places. But yeah, we also did Spain with your sister. For the Pamplona Festival in Spain, running with the bulls.
I was the only one that ran with the bulls.
Yeah.
I ran from the bulls. Let's
Not with.
let's be more clear about that. I ran from the bulls.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure like the night before you ran or something, some guy just from a couple hours from here got gored.
Yeah, it was a guy from Bakersfield.
Yeah.
My whole family is like sending us emails because we didn't have cell phones at that point, right? I'm getting email like, a guy got gored yesterday. I'm like, yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Like, run faster.
Right.
So that was
an epic trip.
Mm.
You running and just the experience of Spain and the sangria. I mean, it was a full week-long festival, and we showed up, got off the airplane, out of the hotel, and we walk outside, and every person is wearing white and red. We're like, oh, we do not fit in here. So we had to go shopping for some new clothes.
And we wore the same outfit for like 4 days.
Yeah.
Just raining sangria in the streets.
Everyone would just spray sangria.
Yeah. San Fermin Festival.
The San Fermin.
In Pamplona.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was super fun.
Yeah. I got lost one night, but they found me back at the hotel.
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah. That was good.
Was this before the girls?
This was before kids.
Okay. Yeah.
This was Brianna, my sister, and I, the three of us went, and we did the San Fermin Festival, but then we also we went to Barcelona. So we did some sightseeing, and La Sagrada Familia. It was amazing.
Love that place.
Yeah, the Olympic Stadium. Saw did Picasso's museum.
Yeah.
Like, loved it over there. I would like to go back to Spain for sure. I'll tell you a trip we did that we did not enjoy and will not do again.
Ooh.
Was New Year's Eve in Times Square. Yeah,
Awful.
going to watch the ball drop. Miserable as far as just like the amount of people, how hard it is to get from place to place. Like, one thing you don't realize is the ball drops at midnight. People start lining up and
Early
getting there at
morning.
like 9 a.m. And then like you can't leave. You can't move. But we've heard rumors people wear diapers, like, because like you can't go to the bathroom. Like, if you give up your spot, if you're right there, and if I send her to go to the bathroom, she's never making it back to me. So that was just one that it was very highly impacted and was not super enjoyable. Yeah.
Yikes.
The traveling, adventuring is just something of like, it's a family core value of ours. It's a lot of who we are. So we have taken the thing that made me think of this was you mentioning Costa Rica, Patrick. So we've done some trips together, which I definitely want to talk about. One that I think ahead of Costa Rica and some Mexico stuff is Africa.
Yeah. 5 weeks.
6 weeks. Yeah, we were in South Africa for 6 weeks. We did. Why the heck were you in South Africa? And why are you taking kids? tell me how old Blakely was again? Like 9
months. Brindley was 2.
Yeah.
And Braylon was 4.
Brindley was 2. That would track because, yeah, Brindley was born right around when Give Fitness opened, when the gym opened. And so about 2 years into Give Fitness, we were busting at the seams. I mean, we felt like it was a bit of a gold strike. We were like, this community, this town obviously was looking for, this different kind of fitness product. We were very middle of the road as far as price was concerned, mid-market. We were doing, like a $30 membership gave you free kid care and free classes. And it was just, we had found a model that was working. And Matt Holguin, he ran Working to Give, and Give Fitness was a part of the Working to Give parent of companies. He was supporting an orphanage home in South Africa. And so I actually went out with Matt and a few other team members to South Africa to visit that orphanage home. And when we did, we're gym bros, so we like going to the gym and we're working out, right? And basically what we learn and discover is that the fitness industry in South Africa was almost identical to the United States in that they had a lot of high-end, very expensive clubs. It's actually Virgin is the main brand over there. And then they had the low end, like Planet Fitness type, $10, but they didn't have anything kind of mid-market with that same idea, like classes, kid care, that kind of thing. And we actually saw a path of like, we could open some gyms in South Africa that could then sustain the orphanage home using the Give model so that it wouldn't, one gym could probably sustain an orphanage home. And it was going to be this, like, it was a pretty cool idea to the point where we're like, okay. And, Matt says, let's go research it, so.
Real quick, can you explain the Give model to those?
Yeah, the Give model. Well, and we talked about it before, but the Give model is, make as much money as you can so that you can give as much money away as you can. So the give businesses pre-allocate 50% of net profits to giving, whether that's with other nonprofit partners and kind of like writing checks to organizations or literally going out and doing give service type work.
Yeah.
And so this model was going to be like, look, one gym in South Africa could financially sustain an orphanage home. And we could grow over the course of time. So that was the kind of the intent and reason for going out there. We were taking 3 really young kids, and it was 6 weeks, 2 weeks down in Cape Town. And we had some contacts. We knew some people down there that we could hang out with and spend time with and kind of point us around. And then 4 weeks up in Johannesburg, different area of South Africa. We joke that that's when Blakely got crazy, though.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that.
She was such a good baby. So calm, but you travel over there and I don't know the time difference, but that poor thing, like night 1, I mean, our whole system is messed up. We're trying to like go to bed and I'm like, okay, I'm sleep training her. Like how mean of me. But anyway, she falls into a good system. She's sleeping well. But then one day we're driving in Johannesburg and this quiet, sweet little baby just starts like making this weird animalistic noise
over
and would not
and
stop.
over and over.
And then she's still.
I feel like she's still doing
going.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think she stopped from that moment.
She is an animal.
We're going to get her on here soon.
Yeah. She would love it. She asked me about that this morning.
Blakely tells everyone everywhere she goes that she's going to be the CEO of Lighthouse. Like, okay, but that's a ways down the road. I just became CEO of Lighthouse. Okay. So Costa Rica. Costa Rica. You and I have been together a few times. You and I have been together. We've all been together. Costa Rica first got introduced to me. It was actually through Atascadero Bible Church. I was helping out with the youth ministry, and they call them hub groups. There was a young group of boys that I was meeting with Wednesday night, and kind of mentorship, guidance type thing. And the end of their senior year, when they graduate, the youth group takes them on a missions trip. And at this point in time, it was to Costa Rica, and it was down in the very, very southern part of Costa Rica. It's in an area called Limon, or a Talamanca, like the Talamanca Mountains. And the people down there, the indigenous people, are called the Bribri, and they are still very indigenous, like living in huts and tents and, you know, some structures and buildings, and surprisingly they still have cell phones.
I mean, that's wild.
Yeah, it is.
It's a
wild.
new thing over the last few years.
Yeah. And so it was take the group of high school seniors down to Costa Rica, and in this week of service, the American high schoolers put on a youth camp for the Bribri kids, and you'd have, I don't know, anywhere from like 1 to 200 Bribri kids hike in from all over this mountainous area and come to this camp property where Tascadero Bible Church would partner with a local church from San Jose, and they had a missions team called Kyrios, and that Kyrios missions team with these high school seniors, they go down there and for a week put on this camp where they're providing food and a program and activities, and really just loving kids and, you know, taking care of them. And it was a unbelievable experience. Very poor timing when I got asked to go the first time. It was, you had just had a baby, you had just had Brinley, and I had just had another baby because the gym had just opened, this brand new business. And long story medium, decided to do the hard thing and go, and super, super glad that I did. Fell in love with both the Kyrios team, so the locals from San Jose who were going down and serving those people, but then also the Bribri and the indigenous tribes and the women in the kitchen and all the people. And so coming back from that, and I do this sometimes, right, where I'm like, that cannot be a one and done thing. Like, I'm just not, I gotta get some more of that. I think it's probably near like 12 to 15 times that I've gone back down and taken various groups and teams with me, whether that's, you know, you two and my family, or there was a time where when we were at Give, we put a team together, and, you know, Patrick, you went down and captured all that video content to help build a well for them and some permanent water. So yeah, curious on the Costa Rica thing, what comes up for you two?
Go ahead, Patrick.
Changed my life. 100%. I mean, I grew up in Mexico City, which, for those who have not traveled and maybe experienced that, like, you know, the picture I think that most people have of Mexico is that, you know, people are still in sandals and that they're still wearing the sombreros and there's like cacti. Like, I know some people have that perception, and like Cinco de Mayo is like Independence Day kind of thing. And I'm like, no, it's not. In fact, to me, Mexico City is like LA and New York had a baby, and it's just like super overpopulated. There's just dirty. There's, you know, noise. I mean, you know, big metropolis. And so while I had done some trips with, you know, my family growing up and like some indigenous portions, we always landed with family. Like, we were always in like, you know, a nice house where there's a bathroom and there's running water and there's all the things. And so I had seen some indigenous communities, but I had never actually been so close to one to where actually I got to experience some of the challenges that the communities in Costa Rica were going through, especially in that area, Talamanca, like the Bribri, where, like you said, Josh, we took a hike up to the mountains to see where these people were living. And literally, like, they make their homes, like the floor of their home is like maybe like 4 or 5 feet above ground, because they keep all their livestock underneath, like all the chickens, all the food, all that stuff. And then the floor of their homes is made out of the bark of tree, and they just like roll it in a way so that, you know, they just have like these little slats of tree. And one of the most shocking moments to me was when, we're inside that house. There's no electricity, there's no running water. There's like a little oven stove type thing that they had just made out of, you know, like brick and rocks and mud and all that. And then there's this woman weaving a hammock, because that's what she does to, you know, like support herself. And she has a cell phone. I'm like, where in the world What?
You
Like
have
that?
cell service out here?
Yes. Like it's one of those weird commercials. Like, can you hear me now? You know, like the
They have
Verizon.
that
Like,
kind of like satellite thing on top of their hut.
yes.
Yeah, it's wild.
And they have a solar panel, and they
Yep.
just run a little wire so that they're able to connect. So that kind of bringing it back to the technology part, like how addicting
Mm-hmm.
technology can be, where like it reaches those communities. Like they might not have
Yeah.
running water.
I was just gonna say that. You don't have a toilet, you don't have running water, you need to shower, you go find the river.
Yeah.
But hey, I have a cell phone.
But I have a cell phone and Facebook and all the things, right? Which is incredible. And another thing was to me that in that same little hut, I remember there was a little boy sitting on the doorstep, and he had like these big wounds on his shins. And we're asking about all the needs and all the things that they're facing. And it was so crazy to me. Talk about a mother moment there, where like this little kid had been bitten by a bug that apparently you have like, I forget how many like hours, maybe a day or two before, if you don't get treated, that part of your body needs to be basically cut off. And so this little boy has these 2 cuts in his shins, and I'm inquiring, asking about the story. And turns out that the mom, she kind of knew what was happening, and she just put this little boy on her back and hiked, I think, for like a day or something to the closest clinic for like hours for sure, just to get help to this little boy. And it was just incredible, like that, so powerful, like what parents will do for our kids, right? So anyway, sorry, that was just a little
Love it.
sidetrack there, but yeah, Costa Rica for me was incredible. I got to see your heart in things, how you showed up for this community, bringing your family, bringing the girls there. Like everybody there was just like giving everything they had. Like we were there, like, I mean, from the moment that the sun came up to the moment that everybody would go to sleep, but we're just working, we're just, helping out. And the same with Curios, like everybody, the team down there was just, the heart that they have. So anyways, that was one of my
It's a hard trip. It is
very challenging.
It is sleeping on plywood.
Mhm.
You don't need blankets, but like mosquito net, there's
hot and
bugs
humid.
everywhere. I mean, your meals are rice and beans. Like, I mean, you might get a mystery protein, every once in a while.
Tuna spaghetti.
Tuna spaghetti.
Tuna spaghetti.
The meat that they like to joke is carne de caballo, like a horse meat. It's like, no, it's not. Don't tell people that. My girls eat a lot of Cliff Bars and beef jerky that week. But yeah, it's always, it's been something that we want our girls to see the world. We want our girls to know that they live in a bubble, multiple bubbles, like the bubble of the United States, the bubble of California, the bubble of the Central Coast. Like this is, bubbles on bubbles. What about for you, Costa Rica? Anything from your perspective you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's a hard trip. It's hot, it's humid. You might not get a shower. I mean, there was one year where there was a hurricane and it shut down, the hose, the long hose that went out to the river.
That was the trip that made us do the well project.
Yeah, they didn't have a well for running water. And so there was a hose connected to the river. Hurricane comes, we lose water, we lose power. I mean, the kids had to go home from camp a day early because I couldn't use the bathroom. Yeah, it's exhausting. So much work, but there's nothing more rewarding than that. And I don't know if I should mention this, but I will. We've gone for years and years and years, and it wasn't up until this last year that I found out like what these children are dealing with in this community. Sexual abuse it runs rampant. Anyway, so
it's bad. It's
like,
right on the Panama border. So there's human trafficking concerns. There's a lot of violence. There's,
yeah, it's like it's like considered normal within their community to be abused by somebody that's you're living with.
Right, like incestual sexual abuse.
And so, you're around these girls and these boys that are experiencing this and just seeing like their tears and because of the trauma that they've gone through, and then also like their happiness to be so loved for that 1 week by all these leaders that are feeding them and speaking truth to them. It's just like such an incredible experience.
Yeah. Thank you. I wanted to point back to Uno.
Mhm.
Because you said the cards in the airport and someone in the airport just coming over and playing, and then you get to Costa Rica, and obviously in Costa Rica Spanish is the primary language, and I would say for the most part down in Limon and Talamanca, like Spanish is very prominent, but they also speak Bribri, which and from a cultural standpoint they're really trying to hold on to and maintain some of that Bribri culture, because they're starting to feel it go away. So all that to say, there's significant language barriers, right? And even though our daughters wanted to do Duolingo for 2 weeks prior to going to Costa Rica, shocker, that didn't make them fluent, you know? But it was fascinating to watch them pull out the Uno cards and see it be a magnetic pull for other kids.
Yep.
And even shy kids, you'd see them standing behind the circle and just kind of waiting, like, can I play too? They can't speak to each other, but they know numbers and they know colors.
Yep.
And you'd hear some of the camper kids try to start. So our girls still make a joke about when we're playing Uno, they say green, because like one of the camper girls just green. Like they're like, I don't even know if she knew the other colors. I'm like, she did. She just had a lot of green, right? So like, but then you'd hear our girls try like verde, like amarillo, and they'll try, each of them were trying the numbers and the language, but you could see people from completely different spots on the globe and just come together playing a silly card game.
Yep.
And our girls were driving that a lot of that week. It was too. It was super fun.
Yeah, and talk about that connection. Like, imagine if that pack of Uno cards that you guys brought would have been replaced easily by a phone or an iPad.
Wouldn't have done this. It would have done the opposite, actually.
100%.
Yeah.
And so that is, I think, one of those big things that, pointing back to technology, that is what we're missing. That is what it's blocking us from doing, is having that human connection with others, not just in schools, but everywhere we go. Like the more you put a screen in your phone, that's kind of telling the world, I don't want to hear you. I don't want to know your story. I've got stories here in front of my hand. And so I think there's so much power in putting that screen down. I mean, I try as much as I can whenever we're going anywhere. Like we went to Disneyland, and I try so hard to just view my phone as a camera, so that, this is a cool moment to capture, and then put it away, rather than like, I'm bored here, or I'm this or I'm that. Just look around. There's a world out there.
I've been using airplane mode a little bit more frequently with that. So because the camera is an easy excuse, and so if I truly am bringing it because I want it to be a camera, I'll just throw it in airplane mode, and then kind of I like to make a lot of rules for myself. So just be like, okay, like you can't take it out of airplane mode till we're back home, right? And then it's just a camera while we're doing this.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love having you here. This is so cool. Most of the rooms we're in are male dominated.
Yeah.
And we are in a male dominated industry, right? The whole movement around trying to get more women in the trades, more women in construction. There's a whole women in construction like week that they celebrate that idea and trying to do more of it. It's funny because there's a client of ours that put up when that came up this year. He's like, it bothers me that this is still a week, that this is still something we have to like. It was eloquently put and it was well intended. It's like, why is this still a thing? Why are we not moving the needle on this? You talked a bit about like your role within my mom's business and what you were doing for her. Update us on, because when I listened back, you basically just said you do all things administrative, like within Lighthouse. Tell us a little bit more about your professional role within Lighthouse Institute and what that looks like for you.
It's a great question. I do lots of little things. It feels like it's a lot of little things, but they're things that you all need as facilitators to be able to be successful. So I'm just like behind the scenes preparing a lot of that stuff for you guys and making sure that you're set up for success, along with several other women. Right? I'm trying to think if there are any men that do what I'm doing.
There are not.
We've got several women behind the scenes that are preparing you all for going in there for your 65 hours of training. So that's a big area of focus. And then, of course, I run payroll and invoicing, which those can be long days, but how cool is it to I've had to shift my mindset. I'm asking for money. Like, how cool is that to be running a business where it's like you've got income coming in? So
it's a very important part of the business.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're responsible for sending out, they call it all of our accounts payable or accounts receivable, right? You do all of that. So you're bringing the money in, and then you're running payroll. So I know everyone on our team is super grateful for you pushing that button and running those reports, because you're making sure our team members get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then administrative, what'd you say? You said behind the scenes?
Behind the scenes operator, I think is what I joked.
Nice.
So, yeah, something like that.
I love it. So the question I really want to get to
Yep.
is, I wonder if you could process with us just like identity, the idea of identity. And I know, having been your husband and someone close in your life, that's been a bit of a roller coaster around, identity as a woman who works and produces income and contributes to the household, identity as mom, identity as stay-at-home mom, and then identity as working mom, and so just I know that the call it a small amount, but the women in the lighthouse world, I know there's a lot of them that wrestle with that and are dealing with that kind of same challenge.
Yeah. That's a big topic. As a kid growing up, I was heavily encouraged to go to college, and I did. It was, I'm the first one in my family on either. Well, no, my grandfather on my dad's side was a pediatrician, but other than him, for sure on my mom's side, I was the first person to get a college degree. And so that was so important to me. And again, like I said, I wanted to be a teacher, and then
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Don't just brush over that. The first person on your mom's side of the family to get a college degree. That's huge.
Thank you.
Huge.
Yeah.
And honestly, going to college, finishing college, getting a degree, I think is one of those things that has almost gotten diluted over the course of time, right? It's just like, oh, well, you graduate high school, graduate. It's like, it's a big deal. You put a ton of time, a ton of effort, ton of intentionality into it. And I happen to know that you did it while working full time.
Yeah.
You were working full time, supporting yourself, and going to college.
Yeah, I was.
Pretty amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, now you can keep going.
Okay, so thank you. Like I said, I had wanted to be a teacher. I envisioned, actually, I wanted to be a psychologist. I wanted to be a therapist, but I went to school to get my teaching degree. Then I worked for your mom, and then at the end of the day, I also knew I wanted to be a mom, and ultimately a stay-at-home mom, or a mom that can focus on being a mom and a wife, and maybe also bring in some income. So it's been quite the battle for me mentally, from working full-time pre-kids to now having 3 daughters, and shifting from 40 to 50 hours a week down to, I don't know, sometimes I might work 5 hours. It might be a 15-hour week. I don't know. But there have been periods of our marriage and the last few years where I feel like I need to contribute financially. Like that, it felt like something I had to do, no matter how many times you say, hey, I got you. You have the opportunity to be a stay-at-home mom. That was really challenging for me. I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it all. So how my identity.
Something seemed to click though.
Yeah.
Something, call it in the last few years, right? Yeah. Something seemed, and we have not talked about this. Something shifted in your energy, in the way that it seemed, I would describe it as like you having a high level of peace and comfort.
I've gotten to that point.
Yeah.
Took forever.
What do you think happened?
The two of us had a conversation. I think this was the conversation that that changed things. And it was about, if I were getting paid to be the cook, to be the maid, to be the Uber driver, to be the therapist, to be all the things, I don't know.
It's a high salary.
It's a high salary. And so that, as a stay-at-home mom, primarily because I do work at home. I do work, but primarily I'm a stay-at-home mom. That is my contribution. All the things that I do for the family.
Wow,
And
really? I didn't know.
that is enough.
I remember having that talk. I did not know that was a significant discussion.
It's pretty pivotal.
Interesting.
Yeah. And, and back in the day when we had Give Fitness, I was a personal trainer. And, I didn't work very much then, maybe a couple hours a day. And I had time for my own workouts. And then I would, maybe meet with a woman at 5:30 in the morning because she had to go to work and work an 8 to 5. Or I'd meet with her at 5:30. And it's like, I cannot believe how many women can do all those things and do them well. And some women don't have the opportunity to be a stay-at-home parent, and they have to go work a full-time job and be expected to take care of the family, to do all the grocery shopping, the cooking, and the cleaning, and be beautiful and take care of themselves. Like, you honestly
keep going and
they're, how is that possible? And how can you also still be mentally healthy? I would be drowning personally. I don't know that I have that in me to work a full-time job and have all these expectations on caring for my home and my kids and all their needs and then take care of myself. It's a lot.
It is a lot.
And if you are a woman that has the opportunity to be a stay-at-home mom and that's what you want, I would encourage you to try it out. There's also a lot of women that want to work and they're okay with their kids being in kid care or with dad. And hey, that's awesome for them. No judgment there. If that's your path, that just wasn't mine.
Yeah. Super interesting, especially for me. And I suspect it's going to be very interesting and relevant for some others as well. So you're saying that conversation, it shifted a little bit for you. It's almost sounding like it gave you a little bit of permission to acknowledge the would-be salaries around a lot of the things that you were doing as core contributions. I would say I have also noticed a shift in your, what's the word I want to look for? In your willingness and commitment to taking care of yourself first and foremost. That's in the last couple of years, that has felt like a shift. If I rewind prior to that, I would say you might have been in the camp of writing some stories about those sorts of things being selfish.
Oh, yeah.
Or an inappropriate use of time and energy, which I guess is probably still underneath the selfish bucket.
Yeah.
But in the last couple of years, it feels like there's been a significant shift around your, not just willingness, your commitment to taking care of yourself in, I would say, all systems, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Yeah. Tell us about that. What's coming up there?
Yeah, growing up, I've always been interested in physical fitness. I knew from a young age that when I exert myself, whether that be running around the block a few times or busting out some sit-ups and push-ups and air squats in my bedroom, that made me feel good. And science backs it. Using your body can help with mental clarity and endorphins. And so that's always been important to me. Even as a personal trainer, that was extremely important to me. And the girls were maybe home a bit more during that time. And then COVID hit and just trying to find the balance of taking time for myself and caring for the family and feeling like It's a selfish decision right now.
Mm.
But ultimately, if I would go the whole day without moving my body or spending some amount of time to myself to take care of myself, I wasn't showing up well for my kids. I was more irritable, short-tempered, and then I wouldn't show up well for you either, I would guess. And so you guys would get the short end of the stick if I wasn't taking care of myself. So over the last few years, that's been a high priority. And thankfully, I've had the opportunity to dive into different activities, and, you know, I don't have like a regimented program anymore like I used to. You know, some days I might go out and play pickleball with you for an hour or two. I might hit up the gym, lift some weights, or take a hot yoga class.
Or
I've recently gotten involved with jujitsu.
oh, we may or may not have talked about that on here without you being.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's so many reasons why I said yes to that. I mean, Patrick, your wife Chrissy's the one that ultimately pushed me into saying yes. But in my early 20s, we would watch UFC fights. And once the women started coming out, it was like, oh my gosh, I am so impressed by your willingness to get out there, by your strength and your determination. So it interested me back then, but I didn't have the courage to go to the local places and try something new. So yeah, here I am. I've given it a shot. And the other thing is a random, but Alzheimer's runs in our family. And I've been told, like, you got to sharpen your brain, keep it sharp. And somebody said, dance helps people, like it prolongs Alzheimer's from occurring. And so I'm like, well, I don't really know that dance is my thing. What I'm seeing from jiu-jitsu is that there are so many techniques, and, it's kind of like learning to dance. There's steps and there's direction. And so it mentally, mostly in the beginning, but still now, has challenged my brain so much that sometimes I am more like mentally exhausted from trying to remember the techniques than physically exhausted.
Love that. Love that. So I'm hearing you say that in the physical fitness movement kind of bucket, you're kind of describing what James Clear calls an upstream habit. That, like, it's an upstream habit because so many other things in your life flow downstream from that, like, quite a bit easier, right? Or the way we'll say it is, like, you're committed to doing those things because you've seen the value of how it helps you show up other places.
Big time.
So one of the ways that I advocate for that idea with people in the room is, like, this is the airplane spiel. This is like why you need to put your oxygen mask on first.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'll say it this way, like, so many of you are out there pouring out for other people, and you cannot pour from an empty cup. So what rhythms, what habits do you have in your life that are filling your cup back up so that you can continue to go pour out for people around you? And if we don't have that, if we don't carve out that time to say, no, I do need to go take a yoga class. I do need to go walk around the lake. I am going to get a workout in. I'm going to do jiu-jitsu, because that's going to fill my cup so that I can show up as a more supportive wife, as a more caring mom, as a better friend, whatever, right? Same exact thing with the oxygen masks. There's a reason they tell you have to put your oxygen mask on first, because if you cannot breathe, you cannot help people around you. And so many of you are running around out there and you cannot breathe. And you're not taking that second to go, what do I need? And we're quick to file some of those self-care things as selfish, when really it's the opposite. Me holding this commitment is actually a better outcome for the people around me. That's what I hear you processing through. Is that fair?
100%.
You said it so well. So well. It's so true. Like, because I'm in your camp where doing things for myself feels very selfish. But the more I'm practicing and understanding the way that it's changing just even my mental state, like working out in the morning, like that already puts me, in just a different, just an energy mode, I guess. Or like, oh my goodness, like I've taken care of myself. I've done this for me. Now I can show up for my kids.
Yes.
Now I'm going to be a healthier dad. Now I'm going to be it's so beneficial in so many ways. And so it's definitely a shift. It takes a little while to like see, the changes, but not that long, honestly. Like the moment that you start eating healthier for yourself, like doing the exercise, taking care of those little things, buying yourself that one little thing that maybe you were like, I don't know if I should or deserve this or this and that. And you just like do it and you're like, oh, I deserve that. I earned that. I won that.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
just those little shifts, the benefits are humongous.
They are.
So.
And our kids are watching.
Mm-hmm.
Just like if we take it back to technology real quick.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to tell my kid, hey, you can't be on social media, I probably shouldn't be standing in front of them scrolling on Instagram. Yes, I have Instagram and I take that privately. Just like working out, telling you that you should move your body while I'm sitting in front of the TV with a bag of Cheetos, like that just doesn't add up. So we have to
She
be.
doesn't buy Cheetos. Just
I don't buy Cheetos. No, actually, we're kind of, Also, my other thing that I love doing is making sourdough bread.
There you go.
Yeah.
And we're kind of what? We're kind of committed to eating healthy is what you were going to say.
Yeah. We'd have like a 90-10 rule. 90%.
If we get A's at home, then when we go out, B minus, C plus is okay.
Yeah. And so ultimately, I want to raise good humans. And I think a big part of raising good humans is having good habits. And some of those habits are taking care of yourself.
Well, and I would say thank you. I think that's super important to model it. This one's going to sting for some people, but similar to what you were saying, Patrick, about sleeping and like the sleep score, some people are so much more obsessed with technology attached to their workout than they are with the actual workout. I could not care less about you closing your rings and the challenges. And like some of them won't even be able to work out if they don't have their watch on because they are not going to get credit or be able to post it somewhere. And it's like, okay, chill. Right? Like what are we actually doing?
Yeah.
And so just think about what those ripples look like. Are you actually modeling the fitness activity and the movement and wanting to take care of your body, or is this another technology addiction that has been gamified? And literally it's addiction, right? All of those things are built to keep you coming back. I don't do any of it. I don't track any workouts. I don't wear Oura rings. I don't do.
You don't even wear a watch.
No, I don't wear a watch. I don't I don't want more leashes.
No, honestly, I've told you a lot. Like if I could get rid of my cell phone, I would love to be able to do that. I'm tired of having technology.
Yeah. I have a friend, Tyler. He has one of those phones. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. It's like a minimalist phone where it's just like all black and white. And it's just words. There's no icons. There's no nothing.
Super
It's
cool.
super cool. And every time I'm around him, I just like drool a little bit over that because not just for the phone, but like for the concept, for the idea of detaching myself from all those notifications, all those like little things. I mean, there's just so much. I think that, like you said, we're so attached to that. Like it owns you eventually.
It does.
And so we need to start detaching from that. So I'm definitely committed. This year is a big year for me in like detaching in some of those things because I do wear the watch, and I joke with my friends when we're working out or whatever, and my watch ends up not tracking for whatever reason, I'm like, wow, did that workout even count? Right?
No,
like,
gotta do it again.
Exactly.
Start over.
Definitely joking because I'm like, I'm not doing that again. I feel it in my body. And so I think it all goes back to the same thing, like the sleep. Like I can tell you in the morning if I slept well or not. I can tell you at night if I'm tired that day or not. Like I need to keep track of like how much water I'm drinking. Like my body's telling me that you need to drink more water. You're getting headaches, all these things. And so I think the more we detach ourselves to that technology, I think the more we're going to connect with our nature, our humanity, and like I don't know. I think there's just something beautiful about that. So there is a place for technology, though.
For sure. And
100%.
there's somebody for sure thinking like, well, what about the whole, like, you can't manage what you don't measure, right? And that's at play. I just think that sometimes we end up over-indexing on it like far too hard. And so it's like, look, if you truly are measuring to manage your progress, and that's the thing keeping you accountable to showing up, and okay, great. But if I would argue, and probably I suspect there's a lot of people who, like, the habit's ingrained, you're showing up and you're doing the thing, and I don't know if you actually need the thing, but I think you're addicted and attached to the thing.
And pen and paper work great too.
Yeah.
100%.
Anything coming up for you? Anything that you were feeling like you really wanted to share today that you didn't get an opportunity to chat about?
Oh, shoot. On the spot. When I leave here today, You'll definitely answer that question. Yeah.
I have a couple questions for you. Just kind of thinking about where you're at right now, where we're at, what's going on. What are you excited about? What are you looking forward to? What are you thinking about?
Well, both of our girls made All-Stars. Softball.
Yeah.
Same team.
Softball.
So yeah, it's going to be a quick season, but we've got lots of softball tournaments in our future. 3 back-to-back in a row. That'll be fun. I love that about being a mom, being able to watch our kids participate in sports. I'm looking forward to the summer. Just getting more family time, going on a few trips together.
Love it.
Yeah.
What would you say is the most challenging part of being married and working together? Like, navigating the personal and the professional. Like, what feels the most challenging to you?
I don't like to make mistakes. And so when you need to tell me, hey, a mistake has been made, let's find a new system for this so that doesn't happen again.
Sounds like a great answer, by the way.
I struggle with taking things personal. Like, oh, I messed up again. Can I do this job correctly? Maybe just give it to somebody else. I get in my head. And so, I mean, you're doing your job and telling me where I missed. So it's not, I am working to separate business and marriage. And I'm getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are.
Thank you.
It's good.
Love that.
Yeah, you got more there?
Need that. No.
No? Okay. Hard question.
Okay.
What's the hardest part about being married to me?
We're just so opposite. I am naturally quiet. My tone is quiet. And Josh he's louder. His tone is, he doesn't mean it, but he's passionate. And that can be very challenging for me.
We got into it about softball. Like, it was like 2 weeks ago. I was yelling something. She like elbowed me, and I'm like,
the parents
and I'm like, what? She goes, she's like, take it. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to take it easy. I'm like, this is more important to me than the Raiders. This is more important than the Warriors. I'm like, the Black Widows are my team.
Yeah.
And I am passionate. And she goes, okay. She just, okay.
Yeah.
All right, got it. Yeah. No, you definitely, you soften my edges. For sure.
I've been noticing that lately.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For what?
Softening the edges.
Oh, got it.
I got something there that I kind of drew a little bit earlier about big feelings. Because you were saying, I'm just a big feelings person. And I had this like epiphany that I have a feeling that, people like Josh that, might seem like they don't have those big feelings because they are, maybe more analytical in some ways, or they show up in a different way than you and I do. Because I'm a big feelings guy too. I feel like our crust is a little bit thinner than their crust, and so our gooey part ends up coming quicker than their gooey part comes out. But I think that what happens is that they have so many big feelings inside, but their crust is so well built. Like they just have so many different tools, so many different like language. They have experience. They have all of those things. they end up already analyzing the GUI, and they're like, okay, in order to protect this, because they care so much about those big feelings, they use that crust to show up and be like, listen, I'm going to be an advocate for all of this that I'm feeling. They're just not letting the gooey stuff come out, where you and I do, I think, where we're like, oh man, like I just don't know how to say this, but I love you, and here's a hug, right? And they have those tools, I feel like, to be able to say that. And so I'm starting to shift that perspective on like, yeah, the people that I know that show up like Josh does, where it's like, bigger and louder and stronger and straight to the point, is because they care so much about us. So
yeah, no doubt in my mind. This guy does have big feelings, and he cares more than anybody I know. Like, just care a lot about people and about our family.
Yeah.
It's super cool.
He's just not mushy like we are, which is
Can
okay.
be.
Yeah, it's in there. I'm sure you see that
It's
side.
in there.
I know you see that side, and it's in there. And so I just had that little epiphany there. So
super cool.
Yeah.
By the time this airs, Brianna, you and I will celebrate our 21st year of marriage on May 25th, 2026, coming up in just a couple weeks. I recently revised my BHAG that I share in the leadership series. So in session 6, we talk about the pursuit of greatness, and we identify BHAGs personally and professionally. And I just upgraded mine. That my BHAG is to celebrate 70 years of marriage with you, which means a few things, right? Means I first and foremost need to live to be 91 years old, so that informs some habits and some systems and in the longevity theme, right? And then it means I need to stay married to you.
Yeah.
So one of the lines that I like to say is, I know what got me here won't get me there, right? I like whatever the things that we've overcome and endured and learned and experienced from year 0 to year 21 probably aren't going to be the same things that are going to get us from 21 to 70.
Yeah.
I don't know all that's going to be required. I don't know everything that's going to be in our path, but that is the long-term trajectory that I want to be on. That's the target that I want to have in mind. And I just want to say that I love you a lot, and I'm super appreciative of the ways that you show up to me, and double click on the fact that what we said last time, that it's taken a lot of grace, a lot of forgiveness, a lot of compassion. You've been the person leading that probably more than I have. And I'm just really, really grateful for who you are.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you too.
Wouldn't want to do life without you.
There's the gooey side. Love it. Yeah, real quick, BHAG.
Yeah.
Can you explain that?
A big, hairy, audacious goal. So, shoot for the stars, land on the moon. Some people say that backwards. It's from an astronomy perspective, would be wrong to say shoot for the moon and hit a star. The star's way further away, right? So shoot for the stars, land on the moon. But yeah, a big, hairy, audacious goal, something I want to be in pursuit of. And then I do not rise to the level of my goal. I fall to the level of my system. So when I keep that idea of achieving 70 years of marriage in mind, it's the reason I do 10 burpees when I get out of bed in the morning, because I need to be physically fit to make it to 91. It's the reason I take a cold shower every day. It's the reason Brianna and I have a non-negotiable overnight date once a month. It's the reason Brianna and I go on vacation all the time. It's the reason Brianna and I pass a journal back and forth to each other, where we do handwritten notes probably every 2 to 4 weeks or so. We just hide it in different places. And it's the reason that we do a lot of the things that we do. It's all informed by that long-term trajectory of that big, hairy, audacious goal. I want to celebrate 70 years of marriage. I want healthy, connected, adult relationships with my daughters. Right? I want to be a great husband, a great dad. Those are just the things that inform how I show up.
It's beautiful.
Wow.
It's good. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for round 2. You're the first guest to get a round 2 interview. Yeah, so glad that you were here. Team, we are in the window now where we don't have to record outros, right? We know that we are recording the leadership and podcast. Thank you for listening today to me, Patrick, and Brianna. Let's all go shine bright.